3 wide. Unbelievable. Where you playing? We're going. I like the aggression. Dude, let me drop the green bar. You can go to all those guys up there. They can suck it.
What we're about to do is not a good idea.
All good. What is he doing? You gotta be kidding me.
Half the pack is flying apart.
It's so nice to see at the line.
Oh, pack of cars come piling in as well.
Go. Come in the line.
Hello. Come back, caught him.
That was incredible.
Dude, nobody better. Nobody. Hell yeah, guys.
Bienvenidos a NASCAR Weekly Podcast. It is a beautiful miércoles. Is that Wednesday? Welcome to the show, folks. Soy Eric Estep. I am joined by Danny B, Daniel Baldwin. Here to my left, stage right, and to my right, stage left is Jarrett Lundberg, aka the Iceberg. Great to see you both. We've got a lot of exciting things happening this coming weekend at Mexico City. But before we can get to that, we have to talk Michigan. First and foremost, how's it going in your end of the world, guys? I'm still not used to being back in my confined little box like that show 2 weeks ago. Last time we were on my channel was so refreshing. Yeah. Have you finally cleaned up your kitchen table, Jarrett, though? I felt bad that we kind of took over your house, a week after the ice cube had been born.
Yeah. It's all clean now. And I even got some chicken.
Delicious, fitting, on theme. Good old Big Bite. You got chicken, Dan? Wait. Is that? You
didn't get the message?
I didn't. What the? Y'all know
Chicken night in America.
I love me some good fried chicken, and yet I didn't even. This is why I hate being in our separate boxes, because we don't communicate as well, gentlemen. We don't communicate like we should. All right. Well, y'all are making me hungry. It's great to see everyone tonight. Really appreciate you all joining us. Great to see so many familiar names in the chat. Already some super chats. Very, very generous. Hunter Nixon Fishing. Peanut the Racing Squirrel. Oh no. Already got Peanut.
He's with Mittens the cat now.
Oh, so sad. But we will get to the super chats, the first batch of super chats at the top of the hour. We greatly appreciate your support. I guess let's just jump right into it, gentlemen. We don't have any time to lose. A lot of racing to talk about tonight.
We have lots of time to lose.
With the Cup Series race at Michigan, a fuel mileage race went Denny Hamlin's way. Third win of the year for DH. Beats William Byron. Carson Hocevar ran himself into trouble as well. But first off, let's start with Denny Hamlin, Jarrett. He now joins Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson, three-time winners on the season. What does that mean to you? Denny winning in his 701st Cup start.
And Jarrett picked him to win too at that.
I started with you, Jarrett. Take a victory lap. You've earned it.
Let's go. I'll take my victory lap later on in the show. I'll save it. I'll savor it like I savor this chicken. But I mean, I think I saw there was like a list of the drivers who have won at or after their 700th start. And it's like a who's who list, which Denny Hamlin, I think we can all agree, is a who's who of NASCAR. I have to admit, the first thing I thought of is I couldn't believe it was so long since he had won at Michigan, because he's been so good there in the past, whether it be the 550 package, the next gen.
It's been a decade since JGR won it. Michigan.
I was at the last race that Denny won at Michigan in 2011.
Wow.
Like I remember, because I remember that race because my brother was like one caution away from, because he was a big Edwards fan. He was one caution away from Carl Edwards winning, and he had picked the winner, I think, of I don't know if it's Truck or Xfinity day before. He almost swept the weekend in picks. And I was like, holy damn, he doesn't even watch, and he knew who was going to win. But as for Denny, for one, he definitely, I think, needs this, because I don't know if there's been an update yet on if little baby hamster has been born yet.
Is that the name we're going with?
It's a name I'll go with until he has a name publicly. But he might need that insurance in the bank with those extra points and everything like that. But I think as much as any other year, Denny Hamlin is as for real as he's been. I think we had all had a little kind of question marks about him before the year, and I think rightfully so, because one of these years he's going to probably fall off unless he just retires at the top.
The big change this year was Chris Gabehart subbed out for Chris Gale, who had kind of struggled, granted, with rookie Ty Gibbs the past couple of years, but like, I don't know. I think that was a fair question. Loss of FedEx, obviously all the lawsuit drama that really started to buzz this offseason, and obviously this week clearly wasn't a distraction at Michigan for Denny. Yeah, no, there were plenty of reasons to doubt Denny Hamlin. It's been a couple years since he was in a championship race, but you're right. I mean, I consider there to be a fast five right now of 5 cars, 5 drivers that I feel like week in, week out are showing top 5 speed. They may run into problems. They may not always execute, but like Hamlin, Bell, Larson, Byron, Blaney, to me, are the 5 that more often than not are going to contend regardless of track type, regardless of conditions. So to be part of that group means you're part of the championship favorites at this point, in my opinion. Danny, what did you make of Denny's big win on Sunday?
Well, it's fantastic for Denny to continue having a good season. I think he would have loved to have capped it off at Nashville Super Speedway, being his 700th start.
That's fair.
And obviously then didn't know if he would be on Baby Watch, and yet he survives yet another weekend on Baby Watch. And Baby could prevent him from even going to Mexico. We'll see what happens. So as far as I know, nothing has developed through that. For Jordan Hamlin, his wife, I think I saw she put on her Instagram that she was like, what'd she say, like 41 or 42 weeks pregnant. Like she's gone way longer than expected. This one, that baby's gonna be cooked till well done at this point.
It'll be cooked as this chicken at the point it comes out, man.
But but good for Denny though that he caps off a win, and also good that he does get a win, because there's I want to say a strong chance he doesn't get the race this weekend. So having another win in the back pocket of them, I'm sure he'd get the waiver for the birth of his child.
Yeah, he would.
Out there. But that just adds on to what's been a successful season so far for Denny Hamlin. That I think one off weekend if he's not here this weekend, and he'll have a chance to get a lot more as the season progresses.
Yeah, I mean, besides whatever happens at Mexico City, even if he does race, his road course numbers the past few years are bad. Like I looked him up. I talked about him on my show the other day. He is like a bottom 3rd driver in Cup since the Next Gen was introduced at road courses. He has 1 top 10 finish in 18 Next Gen road course starts. So not good. So with Mexico City, Chicago, Sonoma, even Watkins Glen in a couple months, like this summer stretch could be tough for Denny. What I want to see from Hamlin, and I think he even addressed this on his podcast, was last year, this point in the season, he had 3 wins. And then, as we know, JGR went winless the rest of the year. Can Joe Gibbs Racing keep the momentum going, even if he has a few off weeks because of road courses? When we get time for the playoffs or late summer, ramping up for the playoffs, can Denny, can Bell, can they get another win or 2, win some stages, pack some more playoff points? Like, can they keep the momentum through the summer? Because that was the problem, was by the time they hit the playoffs, the Gibbs cars had no momentum. And remember, we had 0 JGR cars make the championship 4 last year, which is pretty rare. So that's the challenge now.
At this point, I'm also asking, when the heck is Chase Briscoe going to get out of his Ryan Newman era and actually get a good finish for once?
It's a great point. 3 straight poles, and I saw somewhere his average finish is like 14th the last 3 weeks. He bounced back at Charlotte to finish top 5, but Nashville, Michigan, he faded to the back, and then you didn't see him again. Where did he finish? 23rd, I think, this weekend. It
wasn't good. It's like he starts first for 3 weeks in a row, and he disappears momentarily. That was his 4th pole of the year at this point. Because I know he got Daytona 500. I don't remember if he had any others in between there, but 3 weeks in a row starting first. But I don't know what they're doing on the qualifying setup, but they can't get a race setup to save their life right now.
100%.
And that team was off with Truex, but I think we attributed a lot of that to Truex being checked out. Yeah, but I think at this point it's kind of just
he had a boat order at that point.
Yeah, I mean he was gone. He was, in his mind, he was already fishing on a lake in New Jersey. But like at this point, it's kind of like I think it's partly maybe driver and getting accustomed and everything like that. But it might just like. The 19 team might just be a tier 2 team when it comes to actual speed out there and being up there. Like they're good enough to compete, get stage points, make the playoffs, all of that. What they should. I mean, I think that should be the bare minimum for him. I guess he's outperforming Ty Gibbs pretty easily, but well, maybe not this week. But I mean,
that's his one good track, Michigan.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs has been good there.
He's at top 10 in every Next Gen race there.
Yeah.
Like, it was freaking insane.
Well, on Briscoe, I do want to say, looking at the numbers, he doesn't have very many stage points relative to the field, but he's 11th in regular season points, which isn't terrible. It's not quite where Truex was, but it's not bad. It's in the ballpark. The thing is, he has 5 top 5 finishes. That's more than Tyler Reddick. That's more than Chase Elliott. That's more than Ross Chastain. That's more than Joey Logano. That's more than Bubba Wallace. So I think he's in this middle tier. He's not he's not in that fast 5 I talked about, obviously, but he's also not in that second tier you're talking about, which may include like a Buescher or a Bowman or a Priest or a Bubba Wallace. Like, he's somewhere in between there where they get good finishes. They grind it out. Like Charlotte, for example. I think he finished 3rd at Charlotte. You didn't see him in the top 5. He led the first few laps because he had the pole, but once you didn't see him for a while, got a top 5 finish. They just somehow find their way to get good finishes, which will help for a while. But when you get to the playoffs, you also need stage points, and that's going to cost them if they can't just put together a full race. Anyway,
The thing is that, like, we've talked about this, and I think we can probably also tie it in when we talk about, like, Hocevar, Bowman,
sure.
The rest is like, we're going into a stretch. These next, I believe it's 9 races. There are 4 road courses. Mexico, Chicago, Sonoma, and Watkins Glen. That's going to shuffle stuff up. Atlanta could shuffle stuff. I'm sorry, Echo Park could shuffle stuff up.
Use its legal name. Yes.
Echo Park. Yeah. Don't want a dead name in June.
Please stop dead naming.
So there's that. I mean, Pocono. We've seen Pocono in the past fog out and have a winner randomly come up. We've seen fuel mileage races at the end of Pocono races come up, and somebody who's 25th finishes 4th a lap later, and stuff like that. So, like, there's some crazy ass stuff that can happen. And I feel like the law of averages is kind of like, we are skewing towards a very normal chalk season so far, where like there's the guys up front that are winning the most races: Larson, Bell, Hamlin, William Byron's been really good. Ryan Blaney finally got that win checked off. The law of averages, at some point, it's got to swing back to the crazy side of it, because it's like kind of like 20. I keep saying this season's like 2018, where the first few months it's just like, man, it's a slog to get through, and then like switch gets hit, and all of a sudden you got all these crazy winners. So like, I wouldn't even feel too comfortable with where he's at right now. We'll talk about the cutoff line later, but
yeah.
Well,
we could be looking at a case where some guys who are outside of the playoffs coming up here these next few weeks: AJ Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, SVG down at 33rd. They could easily find a way to sneak themselves in with getting a win.
Yeah, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll talk playoffs. We'll look at the cut line in a moment, but you're exactly right, Danny. I want to touch on a couple other top performers at Michigan. William Byron led the most laps. He led almost half the race, was racing for the lead, battling Hocevar. Then when Hocevar fell out, was battling Denny, but ran out of gas coming to the white flag. He finishes, I believe, 29th, 28th. Still leads the points, but disappointing for sure. He's led so many laps, collected so many stage points, won so many stages, but still hasn't won a race since the 500. So that's just surprising to me.
It's feeling like so far Byron's kind of like Kenseth in 03, has 1 win in his back pocket, but just keeps consistently being well, but not winning.
Yeah, very strong, and will probably be strong the next few weeks with all these road courses as well. Chris Buescher, he might have had the best car, just didn't have the track position at the end, but he charges forward at the end to finish 2nd. Good for Buescher. All 3 Roush cars finished top 10. We mentioned Ty Gibbs 3rd. Bubba Wallace finished 4th 2 weeks in a row. He's rallied to get really solid finishes. He needed that after a few bad races in a row. And then Kyle Larson, I think for the 2nd week in a row, had a pit road penalty. I don't remember if it was speeding, but came back to finish inside the top 10. He was 5th this week. So a few names there I wanted to mention. Also Zane Smith, 7th, shout out. But Carson Hocevar, for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th week in a row, seemed to be one of the dominant headlines. Led laps once again, in contention late, but they didn't get that car full of fuel on the final pit stop. He was 4 laps short, was basically begging for a caution, didn't get it, and then he blew a tire to add insult to injury. So
the car sure tried to beat a caution, didn't
it? Yeah. But Carson Hocevar, just so much speed. Unfortunately, the results, he finished 29th here. The results continue to suck by and large, but so much speed. Road course, he was top 5 at Watkins Glen last year. You never know. Don't feel like this is his strong suit, but generally speaking, gentlemen, doesn't it feel like Carson's time is coming soon?
Yeah. Kid
You
has so
could-
much speed.
You couldn't have wrote a better script than this past week. And that's why I felt so confident when I made my predictions that he would win both the truck race and the cup race. It was close. It was close. Now, I do think we are hitting the point in the schedule where that window has closed for now for him to win. Coke 600, Nashville, Michigan, all were going to be good tracks for him. I could be proven wrong, but I think if Spire is going to have success at Mexico City, it's going to come from his teammate Michael McDowell. Instead, honestly, who knows about Pocono at this point? They might bring speed there.
To Jared's point earlier, so we've seen sort of surprising. Ryan Blaney won his first race at Pocono years ago.
He finished second at Echo Park earlier this year. He could get redemption there. But then we go to street courses and a street course and a road course. But then Dover comes up after that. That seems like a track that might do well for Carson. I don't know how he did last year per se.
He was pretty fast at Bristol. And that's, I guess, the most similar comp you can give.
He's pretty fast at Bristol. He also got second at Nashville. Both are concrete tracks. So watch out for Dover. I'll be up there at Dover. Maybe I can be there for his first win at Dover.
I noticed some character development for Carson. And I don't mean this as a backhanded compliment. I actually mean this as somewhat genuine, but he had that flat tire down the back straightaway, carried a lot of speed into 3 and 4, kept all 4 tires under him, and got to pit road without incident. 2 years ago, I don't think that happens.
A year ago, that might not.
Yeah. Even a year ago, that might have gotten squirrelier, and you never know, could have put him in a really precarious position. But credit to Hocevar. He has so much speed. Spire Motorsports is still new at this whole competitive thing, so you never know how long the speed is going to last, but it feels like with Carson, this has gone on long enough. Do y'all know he's led laps in 6 of the last 7 races? Ironically, the only race in that span he didn't lead a lap at was Nashville, where he finished second. So he has a ton of speed. It's been going on long enough now that I buy it. Like, I think this speed is going to last at least through most of the summer. So like Danny said, with Pocono, Dover, Atlanta, you never know about a road course. He'll have more opportunities, I think.
Are we kind of in consensus here that, granted, he had a good finish the past weekend? Do we think Carson Hocevar will win before Ty Gibbs at this point? Because I do.
Ooh.
Honestly, I could see it.
I think I know what the chat's going to say, but I'm going to make a poll anyways.
I'm going to look up on Racing Reference his season so far too, kind of looking back, because I feel like Carson Hocevar should be like 12th or so on the grid, or 11th or 13th or wherever, like below the 2 that are way up there, with Elliott and Reddick. But I mean, his season, they've had so much speed and have literally almost nothing to show for it. 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. The crash at Phoenix, he ran well there, right? He could have won at Atlanta if the caution doesn't come out. Like, he really had a great run there.
He was bumping running Bell at 180 miles an hour somehow.
Had plenty of speed, and has done well at Homestead. Engine blows up. Bristol, he finished 11th. He probably should have finished 2nd or 3rd in that race. Like, Texas, he was one of the best ones out there.
He qualified 5th.
5th?
He qualified 5th. Yeah.
For Texas, I thought he was a pole sitter.
Was he the pole sitter or McDowell?
Pretty sure he was the pole sitter.
Maybe I got him mixed up. Was Hocevar pole and McDowell 5th?
That's what it says on here. He was the pole sitter because he had that ride the Dente and he rode it right into.
That's right.
Yeah.
I got the Spire guys mixed up. But yeah, no, to your point, 100%.
Those ones were good. And then Charlotte, Nashville, Michigan, all right off the bat. Like, he finished 34th, 2nd, 29th, and he probably should have finished 2nd in all 3 of those races, or like with the speed he had. I feel like if one, they can get a little luck. I think sometimes he might push it too much, which is just, it's a young driver trait. Every young driver does that, especially the talented ones. But like, I bought in a couple weeks ago. Like, he's got the it factor for me. Like, I think he's going to be a multi-time winner, in a couple of years from now.
What I'm about to say, my thoughts on Carson might actually be a good way to transition into our next segment here. But what I see Carson right now reminds me a lot, and maybe even more so, a lot of what was making me become a fan of Alex Bowman back a few years ago, before he is where he is now. That guy who just seemed very likable. He's got a lot of momentum. He's got a lot of speed. Close to winning a race. Just waiting for him to cross that next step and get the first win. He's reminding me a lot of why I became a fan of Bowman and starting to become a fan to an extent of Hocevar as well. So it's kind of ironic, the serious, not so serious conversation of what if Hendrick promotes him to the 48 one day.
Yeah, at this point, I feel like Spire's becoming established enough themselves. They may not want to lose Hocevar if they really think they've got someone long term, which I think they do think that at this point. Yeah, no, Hocevar. Do y'all see his new helmet that I think Off Axis designed or
I
painted?
love that helmet. It looks so good.
Cool. I love the little detail, his little Dale truck next to a Chili's on the back of it. You saw that?
That was perfect.
Brilliant stuff. But yes, Danny, you did start to make the transition there into Alex Bowman, who unfortunately got caught up in a wreck pretty early in the race, clobbered the outside wall head on, one of the biggest impacts we've seen with the next gen car. Bowman said straight up it was the hardest hit of his NASCAR career.
Which is saying something considering what happened a couple of years ago.
Considering he's missed races in 2 of the last 3 years due to injury. Now, one of those wrecks was not a NASCAR wreck; it was a sprint car wreck.
I'm referring more to the one at was it Vegas or Texas?
Texas, I think he backed into the wall and suffered a concussion. So no, but to that point, 2 of the last 3 years he has missed races due to injury. So I think a lot of fans, fair enough, were holding their breath after Michigan. He gave his infield care center interview, seemed shaken up, but fine. I think Jeff Gordon confirmed today that at least as of now, Bowman is going to drive the car at Mexico City. So that is a very positive sign, because Bowman needs to stack some points. He has not done that the past few weeks, unfortunately.
I want to say, I think it was Dustin Long who posted a good picture of his car on the wrecker afterwards.
Yeah.
And it really gave me a little bit of relief that, a few years ago when this car came out, it didn't have crumple zones. And I remember, I want to say it might have been Atlanta. And I remember specifically Daniel Suarez had a wreck where he spun and hit the wall like 3 times, and that car never looked like it crumpled one time. Bowman, when he backed into the wall, it didn't crumple at all. When Kurt Busch had his career-ending crash, it didn't crumple at all.
It was the minor incidents that apparently the drivers were feeling a lot more.
Seeing his car so smashed in told me, okay, NASCAR, it's pretty clear you made changes to this car that worked, because it actually did, smash up the way it's supposed to do and absorb that impact and not spread it directly to the driver. That could have been a lot worse had we not seen those, whatever small changes it was, come into play that, allowed that car to take the impact like it's supposed to.
Yeah. Better late than never. Obviously, wish they had figured that design part out before they put this car on the track, but they reacted to Danny's point, and they've made positive changes. Obviously, we're very glad Bowman is seemingly okay, but Jared, I want to start with you on this. You look at his point situation, he's down to 13th in the regular season points. I believe he's 13 points above the cut line right now. He was top 5 in points not that long ago, well ahead of the cut line, but mistakes, frankly, by the driver, some mechanical issues we talked about, like at Bristol. And then this, he's just losing point. Bowman needs something to go right. How hot is, I don't want to say how hot is that seat. Let's just say how much pressure is he under? He's under contract for next year, but when you're in a Hendrick car, you expect to make the playoffs. So from that perspective, Jared, how much pressure is Bowman under right now?
A ton. I feel like a ton. At this point, his season it's went full Jekyll Hyde mode. I did a video about him, since that race at Homestead where he raced toe-to-toe with Kyle Larson at arguably his best track for the win. And he left there 3rd in the points after a 2nd place finish, 43 laps led. Since then, you want to take a wild guess at what his 3rd best finish, because he had 2 top 10s in that time. He had a 5th and a 7th, 5th at Kansas, 7th at Dega. Take a wild guess. What do you think, if you're not looking at the numbers, in those last 9 or so races was his 3rd best finish behind those?
Oh, I think I know what it is, so I won't say it. His 3rd best finish in that span is 27th, isn't it?
What do you think, Danny?
like 18 maybe.
Eric was on 27th at Martinsville, and the only other top 30 he had was at Charlotte when he finished 29th. After that, just dismal night after the spin and all that. I mean, that team is hemorrhaging points. They have 5 finishes outside of. They have 5 finishes of 35th or worse in that time, and plus 13. I tweeted it out. I know I got a lot of Alex Bowman fans mad at me, but I think it's the truth, especially since Mark Martin liked it. And I think he knows a thing or two about a thing or three on that. This is panic time at this point, because even if they iron it out and get it back to normal, where I think they should be running, the cut line's going to move. We know it's going to, and there's no margin for error. And historically at Hendrick Motorsports in his career here, Alex Bowman has been atrocious in the second half of the summer. Like, it's his worst part of the season.
Yeah.
And so now you don't even have that buffer and barrier that you had before. Now he has plenty of good tracks coming up. There's the high end. And I think, we always talk about the Chase versus Alex fourth Hendrick car and who has the high end, low end. Alex has the high end, the low end for a lot of this. And I think a lot of those in the cut line too. But the scary part for me, outside of that crash just being hellacious, I mean, that was insane how hard of an impact he took. The scary part is where he was running off of speed. I mean, people are like, oh, he crashed, he can't help that. Like, no, okay, you can't help being caught up in a crash, but let's not pretend that he floundered and fell like a rock to 29th or wherever he was running at the time of that crash. I mean, he was, and this is a 36 car field. I mean, he was basically beating a Rick Ware car, a Haas car, and whoever had a flat tire. That was it.
Yeah, no, they missed the setup, let's just say, and cratered in stage one. That's why he was back there with the squirrels, no pun intended. We'll get to that in a second. I asked the chat, all 600 plus of them watching, how worried should Alex Bowman be about his playoff chances right now? 52% said very worried. 41% said just a little worried. So that's 92% say there's some concern there, but 7% say no, not too worried. There's good tracks from coming up. To your point, Jarrett, some road courses. He's proven to be a solid road course racer. He won at Chicago last year. Pocono coming up. He's won there. I know, Larson blew a tire, but he was in the mix. So there's good tracks coming up.
Dover, he won at before.
Yes.
Richmond, he's won at before.
Great point. Yeah.
And he's the best driver in the next gen era at Daytona statistically. 10.7 average finish.
Okay. Yeah. He's due for a win eventually then. So
yeah, there's hope.
Good point. Yeah.
But he has no margin for error, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for voting. I did make a Squirrel reference. I hate to do that, but we had in our notes here, RIP to Mr. Squirrel. We had Peanut the Racing Squirrel in the chat earlier. Is that name canon? Is that the name that us fans are assigning the poor squirrel that got?
I think kind of like Mittens. That's become its name.
Well, very
That's
sad.
right.
Very sad.
Mittens is chasing Peanut up in. Oh wait, no, that was the name of the squirrel that went viral on social media last year because the New York government came and he got it.
Oh, yep. You're right.
That was the pet squirrel.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was pissed about that, man.
The internet moves so fast. I already forgot about that.
We need a picture, whether it's AI or photoshopped, of Harambe welcoming in Mittens and the racing squirrel.
Rest in peace, sweet prince.
How does Ty Dillon sleep at night? No.
Did you hear the audio though? He's like, I think
not.
I murdered a squirrel.
Oh no!
And he's like, yeah, they were so and so was hollering on the radio, and he's like, did I hit it? Yeah, buddy, you hit it.
What was the spotter? Back it down! I guess
I think it was the car chief or somebody in the pit box was like, no, don't hit the squirrel.
That's crazy. Well, very sad.
Hey, I come close last week. I was taking my boat out of the water on Thursday morning last week, and I had to literally come to a stop of 2 cars behind me and make sure I could straddle over this turtle who was in the middle of the road. So that all of my tires of my truck and the boat behind me could pass over him because I didn't run over the poor turtle.
Oh, Danny, those defensive driving lessons coming into play there. That's really well done.
Mitch McConnell doing in Tennessee.
Okay. On that note,
we started to talk about the playoff cut line earlier. We've kind of woven some playoff point talk into this first half hour discussion. But just a quick look. I don't know if Jared has a graphic prepared. He does. Holy crap! Whoa! What a maniac! For our viewing audience, they can see this on the screen. But for our listening audience, I'll just read through the key bubble drivers real quick. There are 11 regular season races to go. Right now, Chase Briscoe is 13th on the grid, plus 41. Chris Buescher, plus 20. Sure wishes he had those 30 points back that got penalized. Alex Bowman is plus 13. Talked about him. Ryan Preece holds the final playoff spot currently via tiebreaker over Kyle Busch. They are tied. Busch is 17th, obviously. Hocevar is 18th, minus 18 points, tied with AJ Allmendinger, who is 19th. And then 20th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's only 20 points back. It's pretty tight behind Preece, behind Kyle Busch. But to one of y'all said earlier, and it was the correct point, the cut line's going to move. Like, I think Buescher realistically is probably actually on the bubble right now in 14th, because I'd be shocked if we don't see at least 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 surprise road course or super speedway winners. 6 of the final 11 regular season races are either at a road course or a super speedway. We're going to see at least 2 surprise winners, whether that's SVG, whether that's AJ Allmendinger, whether that's Michael McDowell. Stenhouse, shoot, I know he's on that graphic, but like Stenhouse at Daytona in August wouldn't shock me. I guess I'll just ask you guys. Jared, I'll put you on the spot first. Who's one driver on that graphic we just looked at that you really believe in? Let's be positive. Like one guy that you're like, yeah, he's gonna make it. Yeah, there we go. Who do you got?
Chris Buescher. The 30 points or whatever it was back of the other half of his penalty, and he's about where Bubba Wallace is. He's shown more speed, I think, than Chase Briscoe and pretty much anybody underneath him. He's the one I have the most faith in. None of these guys are going to have any consistency. We absolutely know that. But if there's anyone that has the most and has the kind of that high end speed and has shown it more recently to me, it is the 17.
What about you, Danny? Do you have one guy from that list that you're like, yeah, he's going to make it, no worries?
Are we talking about specifically the guys north of the cutoff line or below it?
It could be even below. Maybe you really believe Allmendinger is going to win a road course. You could say SVG. If you want to say SVG, that's not a bad pick.
Some people who, honestly, I keep forgetting that Busch is doing well enough to be up to this conversation. I can't believe Bowman isn't below the line at this point. I think it won't take long for him to get below it. I obviously feel high on Hocevar right now, and we'll see what happens there. But you know what? Because of how well he's surprisingly done on ovals, and we got so many road courses coming up, I like odds of Allmendinger there. I know it was unfortunate what happened at Nashville. That one sucked, but man, I like what we've seen with AJ this year, and we're gonna come up to a lot of tracks where he get good finishes on. He's one of those guys. I wouldn't be shocked if he also does well at a Pocono or Echo Park, and plus the road courses. I kind of like the way the summer plays out for AJ a little bit.
Man, I agree wholeheartedly. I shouldn't have let you guys go first because I think your 2 picks would have been my first 2 picks as well. I mean, throw Shane Van Gisbergen in there because I do think he's going to win a road course. There's 4 opportunities. I think he's going to get 1. But okay, take SVG off the board. Looking at that list, honestly, after the 2 you mentioned, Briscoe with that cushion, I feel good about Briscoe. I'm going to say Alex Bowman. I know he's struggling right now. Hopefully this wreck didn't rattle him too much, but he does have good tracks coming up. That is a Hendrick car. He proved the first 8 weeks of the year how fast he can be. I think there's a good chance they string together some good finishes coming up. So I would probably say Bowman is who I'm confident in after all the guys you already named.
I mean, to your point, Pocono, Chicago Street Course, Dover, that's 3 tracks coming up that he has wins on before. So I won't count him out either. It's just not looking good right now for him.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Well, that was fun. Let's take a look at the TV ratings before we move on to the poll, the official famous iceberg poll, that is. Prime Video earned 1.77 million viewers for Sunday's Cup Series race at Michigan. That's down 16.2% from last year's race on USA Network. Now, I believe that really is when you just factor in the start, because I don't think that race got delayed midway through, is down 32% from the 2023 Michigan race that was also on USA Network. This is the lowest watched scheduled NASCAR Cup Series race since the Bristol night race 3 years ago, I believe. If you look, and I saw this tweet earlier, I tried my best to take some notes on it. 3 races on Prime Video so far for the Cup Series. If you look year over year, Viewership is up 32% in the younger 18 to 34-year-old demographic. It's plus 11% in the 18 to 49 demographic. But if you look at the 55 plus demographic, which is NASCAR's largest TV demo, they're down 40%. So that's why I can't
find Prime. What channel's Prime on?
That's why overall ratings have gone down since switching over to Prime, but that younger audience has gotten bigger. We've talked about this, I think, on the show a bit. That 16 to 32% decrease is in line with what happened to the NFL when they switched to Thursday Night Football on Prime. So percentage-wise, there's nothing particularly jarring about these NASCAR numbers. But sure, you want to be as close to even as you possibly can.
Yeah, it's not great. I'd even say I think that's actually a bit lower than I kind of feel comfortable about with, just because this part of the year, that is roughly about 1 million lower than normal for these kind of of the year races. We knew the 600 would be higher up. I'm surprised though that it's. I mean, we're down 1 million viewers from 2 weeks ago. And
that's a good point.
600 is not as big as it used to be.
I wish we had an Xfinity race this past weekend, because I want to know what that would have looked like compared to an Xfinity race, because that's not much more than what CW has been getting.
Keep in mind that the Michigan Cup race started like a good hour and a half earlier than most races start these days.
Yeah.
So but again, that probably was the case for last year's race too, if I had to guess. And again, it was down 16%. So that's not really a valid excuse. But to your point about losing viewers from Charlotte was not only was it the 600 crown jewel, it was Sunday night prime time motorsports momentum from Monaco to Indy. Like it was going to draw the biggest prime number, I think, this year. But yeah, I'm with you. No, it's not great, but this is the trade-off NASCAR was willing to make. More money for the sport, for the teams, in lieu of overall TV viewership, at least for a time. They are increasing their younger demo, though, which is a long-term positive.
The question for me is going to be, after this 5-week stint is over, how many of them go to TNT with them? Like I think that's a big early test here. The same
TNT,
way, remember?
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, remember when we had the Chicago street race, and that was a big thing, and the ratings were down that first year with the street race, like the overall ratings were down, I should say. And then the street race happened, and we saw like an 8-week bump up where like people all of a sudden were watching NASCAR like double-digit % more than the year before. Like I'm wondering if we see something similar with this one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Out there.
No, we'll see. I was just going to say with Chicago, that is the first. I think that's the first race of the TNT. Second
Atlanta's
race. Okay.
The first. So it's bang start.
Okay. Atlanta is a phenomenal one for them to start with.
Yeah, actually, that's a pretty stout 1-2 punch of Atlanta, Chicago.
And TNT gets a better rotation compared to Prime, in my opinion. I know they got the Coke 600, but TNT gets Echo Park, Chicago Street Race, Sonoma, Dover, and ends at the Brickyard 400.
Yeah, I guess you get the Brickyard, because I was gonna say nobody watches Sonoma, or I don't know about Dover. Maybe they
Dover is pretty bad too with viewership, but
Brickyard, yeah, having
that's 3 out of 5 ain't too bad.
Yeah, no, that's 3 strong viewership races.
Well, and then I think the only change we see on the Prime side for next year, because I think that if you're NASCAR and Prime both, you want to see as similar as possible. I think the only change you see next year is I think you got to swap Nashville and Michigan for logistics, because it's just you're cutting like 10 hours or so, maybe more.
Oh, of the drive to Mexico City.
If you drive, I would much rather drive from where we're at here, Danny, to Mexico than all the way up in freaking Michigan down to Mexico.
And then vice versa, they go from Michigan to Mexico City and then to Pocono.
I saw someone, maybe it was another YouTube video, they suggested that it's pretty obvious they were originally going to put Montreal in this slot, and then that didn't work out, and so they pivoted to Mexico. And I'm like, honestly, yeah, you're probably right about that.
So, speaking of, you talked a little bit about the greatest day of motorsports before. Do you want
to talk about this now?
There's no other place to really put it in, because I think it's worth more than the lightning run. I know it's not NASCAR related, but
we got a super chat. I'll read this super chat ahead of time. We'll get to the others in a few minutes, but first up here, Napa Racing Fan, it times out nicely, sent us a super chat that said takes on the F1 Canada Grand Prix, head to head with Indy 500 next year, head to head with NASCAR Mexico this Sunday. NASCAR Montreal and or Canadian Tire return. That might be a separate discussion we can have in a bit. But yeah, Formula One has moved their Memorial Day weekend race out of Monaco and over to North America. Estimates and the times have not been officially announced to my knowledge, but it sounds like there's a good chance the F1 race in Canada will start roughly midway through the Indy 500 and will finish around the same time as the Indy 500. Now that's subject to change, but that's the most likely scheduling based on everything I've read. What do you think, Jared?
I'm going to call Chad on this. This is not F1 being run by morons. This is not F1 making a stupid decision. This is F1 going to war with the Indy 500.
And it's a war. I don't think they're going to come close to winning like they want.
I remember talking with Jeff Gluck about this a while back, and we've talked about it a bit. I've talked to a ton of people from short track scene all the way up. This is so reminiscent of mid 2000s NASCAR hubris of thinking we can take on anyone, anytime, anywhere, and nothing's, it's always going to go in our direction. That we shit rainbows and lollipops and everything we do is perfect and we're going to take over everything. I'm not an IndyCar fan. I'm a casual IndyCar fan at best. I am a NASCAR fan. That's why we do this show, obviously, all that. This is sacrilege. This is racing sacrilege. You do not fuck with the Indy 500.
Ooh.
You don't. You do not mess with the Indy 500.
Have an F1 race a day of the Super Bowl and see what happens.
That's what they'll go for next. That's what they'll try. I can't believe NASCAR didn't try that in 2005. They thought about it.
I mean, it's insane to me. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care how many great Netflix documentaries you have or how many past their prime actors you have starring in their movies. Like, no, they don't mess with the Indy 500. That is the quickest way to burn a bridge with the large majority of diehard actual motorsport fans and not just trendies in this country. I've seen so many Formula One fans who are pissed at this. Not even that it's just you move Monaco or whatever, because I know a lot of people don't like Monaco because, let's be honest, it's pretty freaking boring.
Yeah, it's not a great
I know you don't mess up this race.
But it's like, you ruin motorsport. The Grinch. They took away motorsport Christmas. Like, the Grinch stole Christmas is the best way to put it.
That's great.
And I know it was getting to the point where people just basically for the state that F1 racing is, and people admit that it looks appealing, but the race there in Spain just would not put on that good of a show. I get they want to put on something that races better, but that's not what they should have done.
Well, and the BS about, well, we need to make our schedule line up more logistically for going, to and from races. Okay, I've driven from Wisconsin to Florida, like, granted, halfway through past Orlando, so not all the way down to Miami. It does not take you 3 freaking weeks to go from Miami to Canada. All right.
Yeah.
Like, get a Midwesterner driving your haulers, you'll be up there in a day and a half. Like, you're fine. Like, the reasoning they're giving, the fact that they've had to get so defensive, it's like you're only proving to us more that, like, you're going to war with everybody. I mean, it's what it is.
It'll be interesting to. So here's what's going to happen. Well, so I read Jeff Gluck's article as well, and it was very well done. And yeah, I've had that conversation with him in the past as well, so I kind of knew what he was already thinking, but he articulated it very well in that piece. But the way I look at it is, will this actually have long-term negative implications for Formula One, or will it impact the Indy 500? I don't see this impacting the Indy 500 significantly. Will they set a modern record in viewership like they did this year? Maybe not, but I don't see this putting a huge dent in the Indy 500 numbers next year. But will this turn off as many hardcore F1 fans stateside as we're suggesting it might? Because I think the casual F1 fan isn't really going to care. And I think most of the US F1 audience sort of, like, I'll be honest, I think a lot of the US F1 audience kind of has tunnel vision and doesn't watch the Indy 500 or doesn't watch NASCAR.
No. I agree. I agree that no, I don't think it will affect their hardcore audience, but I'd argue this. I'd argue that the large majority of that F1 audience is just trendies. They're there for the trend. They're there for the, like, it's like when the NHL got really big again for a bit, and when the NBA or the NBA had big, ups, and then soccer for a while, like that was the hot thing. NASCAR is the big thing. Probably at one point roller derby was the big thing. Like, it's the fun, trendy thing to watch. I have a football podcast I listen to, and they have their F1 minute where a former NFL player goes through all this stuff he loves about F1. It's the popular thing right now. But when push comes to shove, and NASCAR has learned this the hard way, and they're still suffering the consequences for it to this day, when you burn that bridge with the actual diehards that will be there, whether it be NASCAR with those Southeastern fans for the longest time and the working class fan base, or those diehard motorsport fans that aren't there for the glitz and glamour, aren't there for the entertainment, they're there for the racing. Like, when the next trend comes along, and like, I don't know, maybe like bowling is the new thing, or pickleball, or whatever.
Who do you think you are?
Whatever it is that takes that mantle next. Like, who's really going to be left? Like, though you'll have some holdovers, but like,
that's a great point.
Diehard F1 fans in this country for the longest time have been the all-around diehard motorsport fans for so long. And now you're burning that bridge because you're going after the biggest race in America.
And if F1, if they do burn that bridge and it starts to, over the next few years, we see their viewership in the States decline rapidly back to kind of where it was 8 or 10 years ago, they're not going to want a race head-to-head in North America with the Indianapolis 500. It'll be like, when you saw all the empty seats at Indianapolis the first few years, when in NASCAR, when it was like, oh gosh, like, look at how the sport has declined over the last decade. Like, that could be F1's wake up. Like, they'll have to alter this schedule to get out of the Indy 500 shadow at that point, most likely. But yeah, it's interesting. I definitely think it's a bad look as a casual fan of both motorsports, of open wheel racing broadly. I don't like it, but I don't know. I guess I'm a little skeptical that it's going to make a huge difference this quick. It's just, I think, the latest misstep. And if they keep making these missteps, it's going to be one of the dominoes that maybe falls, I think, is the way I see it. I don't think this is like the straw that breaks the camel's back necessarily, but it's a domino heading down a dark direction.
Put it in NASCAR terms, to me, when it comes, if you're looking at diehard motorsport fans and the effect it would have long term, this is their Wilkesboro. This is their moment where they miscalculated. They went after the market rather than staying with the core clientele at a different point. When they've made so many great moves already. The Miami GP is a success in every single way. Beat NASCAR last year. COTA has been a success. Las Vegas was pretty damn good for being run at 11 o'clock at night.
Once they got the potholes fixed, yes.
Yeah. But like, they've made a lot of great moves. Just like NASCAR made a lot of great moves. People don't want to admit it. They made a lot of great moves in the 2000s. But they made these dumb moves that they didn't see the repercussions of until way down the road. And Formula One right now, it so reminds me of boom era NASCAR, where it was just like, the bubble's not going to pop until it does.
Yeah, that'll be the thing. Is this the pin that pops the bubble? Maybe not, but the bubble is getting more and more precarious. It's getting closer potentially to those pins. My analogy, my visualization is not very strong here. But you made a great point. You made a good point there, Jarrett.
And to be fair, we're a NASCAR podcast talking about Formula One. So like, they're doing stuff right that we're talking more and more about them.
I guess if you believe any publicity is good publicity, I wouldn't say we're exactly giving them great publicity right now, considering the poll I just ran. I asked our 666 viewers, gosh, somebody leave or get somebody else to join. My God. I asked our viewers, what will you be watching in 2026? 79% said the Indy 500. 17% said both F1 and Indy. And only 2% said F1 Canada. So we're not exactly giving them good publicity at this moment.
All I'm saying, whether I am in my upstairs room, in my living room, in the outside area where we got a TV out there, there's only one screen. It's only going to be on the Indy 500 no matter where I'm watching racing there in that time.
Like a good red-blooded American should.
I can find out just as easy on Twitter if anything happened in an F1 race.
I can Google pretty quickly to see that.
Max Verstappen won by 24 seconds.
I was going to, but then it's like he hasn't actually been dominating like that this year as much, so it's like I can't really like make that joke anymore. But
okay, like Lando Norris won.
Well, on that note, before we get to our first super chat, actually, we have to talk about the truck race. But before we get to the truck race and our first super chat stage break, let's go over the results of the famous iceberg poll. Jarrett asks everyone every week immediately after the cup race, was insert cup race a good race? 60% of voters said that the Michigan Cup race was great. 30% said it was good. That is a 90% positivity rating. 7% sat on the fence, said it was an average race. Only 3% considered Michigan a bad race. So one of the more positive Michigan receptions in the track's history. It's put on some really good races in the next gen era, frankly. Jarrett, what were some of the top comments that you saw?
Before that, I want to give you at least a little bit with the stats on this one. So the 90% makes it the second highest voted race of the year, only behind the 600.
That's where I would put it. Fair enough. Yeah.
And I think that I'd agree with that too.
Yeah.
Cause I said that I thought it was it could be if you wanted, to, with a smaller kind of packaging of it, lengthwise of the race, that it could be race of the year. I could see a case for it. The interesting part is it is the highest rated Michigan race on my poll of the 9 we have polled in its history since 2019. It beat out 2022 that had 84% positivity. The interesting part is that the top 4 are all the next gen races, and then after that are all the Gen 6 races.
Wow.
The highest Gen 6 race is at 81%. That was the one, Danny, that we were at in 2021.
Mhm.
That ties the lowest Michigan race, which was last year's. And I think that one was kind of bogged down by, 1, being on a Monday, and 2, the BS caution at the end of the race that almost cost Tyler Reddick the win. But it's interesting, like the fact that of all the Michigan races, there is a clear line of like, yes, the next gen is clearly better here than the Gen 6 was.
It's rare we get that kind of consistency with the current car tire package combo. So that's
Yeah.
great. What were some of the comments?
Yeah, as for the comments, the Ultimate KFB fan said the audio mixing was perfect. I loved hearing the crowd when Hocevar took the lead. Heartbreak for Hocevar with the flat left rear. Disappointing.
Yeah, bummer.
As for the rest of the comment section, Paladin said Byron is an enigma. He can switch from a consistent driver to a scarily dominant driver. These past few months, he has been leading the most laps in several races, and yet all he has to show for it is a win at Daytona from the beginning of the season.
A few weeks ago, we looked at the numbers and said, damn, Larson is like double, triple the laps led of everybody else. Byron's less than 100 laps away from him now. He's caught up in a big way.
Law Pug says fuel mileage races are amazing and Prime absolutely killed it. That's the sad thing about the Prime stats with the viewership is like they're having the best NASCAR broadcast possibly ever, and no one's freaking seeing it.
Yeah, well, not as many, but yeah, Steve Letarte in fuel mileage races is very good. It's why Fox, I think, they need a crew chief on their coverage. I just, that's Boyer right now is in the Steve Letarte role, and they couldn't be more different.
Yeah. Look at this hot rod right here. That's what they call my burn bar. My burn bar is when I have some Everclear, right? Yeah, Clint. Right, Kevin? Yeah, Clint. Yep. That's why you never won.
That's for shizzle right there, Clint. That's lit.
Mike, all right.
I need to go to the bathroom. When we use a skibbity toilet, I'll be right back.
Mike Joy, meanwhile, Stenhouse in the 17 takes the lead. Oh, no. What are we doing?
Brendan here says, felt very much like a 2000s race with the coverage. Absolutely top notch.
My one criticism, and I said this on Twitter, was and Dale Jr. addressed this on his podcast, although he dismissed it. Come on, Dale. Actually, TJ Majors dismissed it. Dale actually seemed to internalize it a bit, but the way they do post-race interviews, I love the extended interview cuts, but like, I get what they're doing because we work on the internet and it's all about watch time and audience retention. I get why they're dragging the post race. Oh, we're not going to interview second. We're not going to interview Hocevar until 45 minutes. We're going to make you wait. I get what they're doing. It's manipulative, but it's Amazon. I understand. I wish they would at least hit a couple of those top stories, those quick interviews before we sit down with Ty Gibbs for 10 minutes. I did not need 10 minutes with Ty Gibbs before I'd heard from Byron, Hocevar, or Buscher. Like that's bad TV.
I want to say, and granted, each interview is going to be different, but I want to say I got up my Nashville post-race interviews to Twitter before I heard it on the TVs in the media center going out on Prime.
Yeah. So that's the one criticism I have, and I hope they take it seriously, is like mix in a couple of those like notable interviews first and then do your full extended post race, because there's still a lot of great. I mean, we read earlier, they got almost 1 million viewers for their post race coverage. So they're doing a really good job with it, but we need a few of those interviews to be front loaded instead of, I think the Chris Buescher interview I heard was what they aired right before they went off the air, like an hour after the checkered flag. Like, that's ridiculous. Come on.
I saw it after my post race stream. Like, I walked out and I'm like,
you did your whole show and they were still
like,
oh my gosh.
Why are we interviewing Buescher right now? I think I asked Riss, I'm like, do you like pause it or something? No,
Yeah.
I've been just listening to it while you were live. And I'm like, they're interviewing him now?
Yeah.
Like,
crazy.
half his team probably left the track.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my only criticism. Go on.
Alessandro says, hate him or love him, you can't deny Denny Hamlin's talent behind the wheel, mid-40s in age and still elite. True. Cooper says the 24 should have about 3 wins right now. I'd agree with that. And Oscar feels bad for Hocevar. And then Alan here says that was a damn good race right there. 8 out of 10 race. Solid, fun, absolute blast. Doesn't top the Coke 600, but this was a really damn good race. So a lot of positivity, a lot of prime talk. Let's get to the gutter, though. Nathan leads us off. Decent race, would say great if it didn't come down to saving fuel. I hate fuel mileage endings. Sucks that Byron ran out of fuel and Hocevar blew a tire.
I mean, Michigan's known for fuel mileage races, though.
I like that it's still in the driver's hands, and I don't know. And they were still racing though. Like Hamlin passed Byron, and they were both going 100% in that moment. Like that's yeah.
I like fuel mileage races.
Or Hamlin passed Byron, whatever.
When I think of fuel mileage races, I think of the 2011, 2012 seasons, like those last 2 COT seasons where like fuel mileage was the name of the game, but there was always somebody running out of fuel. Like there was always somebody that was right on the edge, or if they didn't run out, they had something to lose during that. So I've been a big fan of him. Jay says, was good until the undeserving POS stole another win he didn't deserve. Tell us how you really feel.
He did earn the second most stage points. No, I'm sorry. Third most? Second most. I forget now. He earned a lot of stage points. He was up there most of the day.
He podiumed in stage points.
Yes.
Wayne says, take the Gibbs in 2311 to Tech. Oh, that's right. Toyota sponsor scam car.
I think you'll find Ford and Chevy do as well.
And Ram now.
And Ram now to some degree.
But those were the comments in the gutter, and the gutter never disappoints.
Classic. Well, that was the famous iceberg poll. Real quick, before we get to our super chat stage break, the Truck Series race was pretty eventful. Let's just say, you got the results going down below right there. Stuart Friesen, speaking of Canada, gets the win. Just south of the U.S.-Canada border there in Michigan. Very exciting for Stuart Friesen. It's his first win in a couple of years, I believe. Locks him into the playoffs. He was a bubble driver before then. He'd been involved in some incidents lately. Notably, had kind of claimed that he wasn't sure he wanted to keep doing this. Could just go retire and race dirt late models everywhere and dominate and have fun. But he stuck it out here with this Friesen Truck Series team. And cool to see them get the win in triple overtime.
I thought it was hilarious. Dean Thompson, everyone knows Dean Thompson from the Xfinity Series. He had tweeted, "Oh Canada, what am I missing? Like, why are they singing 'Oh Canada' at Michigan?" Then, of course, everyone lit him up in the comments like, "They've always sung this at Michigan. It's always what they do." And he said, "Of course, the Canadian wins after my ignorance."
I love that.
Well, I'll say this about the race. One, you see him in last there. Norm Benning pulled off the track. In fairness to everyone else, knew he'd just absolutely blow the doors off the rest of the field. Such a great man.
If he hung around for the triple overtime, maybe he could have gotten a top 10.
He probably could have. Frankie Muniz almost did.
Oh, shoot, you're right.
Till he put the truck in the wrong gear.
Oh, Frankie, come on.
I tell you what, the caution clock of the Truck Series, he tried to strike again. He just they were too good for him this week. But I'll say this: that race was race of the year for the truck series until the overtimes. And even then, I still like, I can't complain about it. The overtimes I can complain about. It was a cluster of a finish.
That one restart where I like the whole second row. I can't remember who it was. It was Heim.
They did it the last time they raced at Michigan.
Yeah, the second row, because it's such a momentum track, especially with trucks and how much drag they have. It's just that second, third row, try to time it. They accordion it.
And they're just not there yet.
Yeah, no, they're not. But the racing, you're right, before the triple overtime was great. I had to listen to a lot of it on the radio broadcast. I had to run an errand, was driving, so I was mad. I came back in to watch overtime on TV. It was the good parts I had to listen on the radio. I see what you're saying. My bad. You're making a Jamie Little Michael Waltrip joke. That's my bad. I thought you meant something else. Never mind, Joe. That was a good joke. Yes. Lucky me, I got to listen to the radio and I was not subject to the commentary that FS1 puts out week to week.
Did I tell? I don't know if I told the story yet. I might have. That I sent you the picture of me with my daughter watching the truck race, and I said, "Is this child abuse? Putting my daughter through a Jamie Little Michael Waltrip broadcast?"
Oh, it's just not good. It's so stiff, so awkward. But
and
the racing was
going
good.
Around him. And
why does she talk in slow motion? It's like it's like can she hear her own voice on like a slight delay? You know,
I've dealt with that before, and that does suck.
Yeah, I had that when I did pit reporting at the fairgrounds. I know, like you and I have people talking in my ear. Like I remember I went in to do an interview and I hear myself talking, and then I'm like, I hear John on the radio telling me like, okay, wait, okay, now go. And then like during it, be like, wrap it up, and he's talking to me. Like, yeah, it's difficult, but it's like if I can do that on the fly, having 48 hours before, not had that practice. She should be able to be fine, but it's like the scene in Click where he keeps pausing everyone while they're talking.
Yeah,
it's like the Lane Riggs and I'm just waiting for her to go hello.
Well, the racing itself was good. Chastain almost losing it on the inside. Like it was just such good racing between Cup guys, some of the top truck like Heim, Lane Riggs were up there. Like it was all the really top drivers for the most part were up there battling second, third, fourth, fifth. Awesome. Hocevar in the mix, like just really good stuff.
I think it was 6 drivers all under a blanket racing each other for like 15 laps or whatever it was.
Great.
And it was funny because Riz came in at one point because I'm like, oh, and I'm like yelling. I sound like Tony Romo, like, oh my God, look at that, Jim. Like I'm going nuts. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, this is freaking awesome. This is great. Yeah. I'm like, the trucks, I'm sorry, outside of that overtime and maybe a few things here that the truck series has consistently put on the best shows this year. It has been the most fun season of trucks I think I can remember since like 2019.
And it's crazy to say that when like you look at the stats and it's time. I mean, he doesn't win very often because he usually gets run into, or in this case, he was part of the wreck on the restart. But like you look at the dominant numbers and you think, oh God, no, you're right. It's been very entertaining. Most weeks, I would say.
And to think he probably should have won 2 or 3 more races.
Yeah,
like,
he probably should have.
Like this season should have been a lockout, and we're having a blast watching it.
I'll mention Corey LaJoie. This was his first truck race of the year since rejoining Spire. I kept an eye on him during most of the day. He was 10th to 15th in pace. That 07 truck, it's obviously a Spire truck, but like we talked about, Kyle Busch struggled in that truck a week earlier at Nashville. So I don't really know how good that equipment is. He should hopefully get some top 10s, maybe contend for a win here or there. He had the lead. He dodged the big restart wreck late, had the lead, but I think he had slightly older tires than a lot of those around him. He held on to finish 5th, but I mean, still, it was kind of cool to see Corey in the mix there, his first truck race back. If you're a Corey fan, I know a lot of people aren't. I still have a soft spot for the guy. I want to see him do well. I just also want him to keep his mouth shut and not say something stupid like he seems to do quite often.
Well, he wasn't fasting this time.
Yes, he wasn't hangry this time, and he had a good run. Man. Good finish. Well, do we want to look at the cut line real quick? If you're thinking ahead of me, look at Jared on the controls. Yes, that win by Stuart Friesen mixes things up for the truck series a bit. Grant Enfinger is currently 7th plus 52 points. Lane Riggs plus 35. That's surprising because he's a guy who's thrown some points away. He feels like he should be in the top 3, top 4. Caden Honeycutt plus 19. Ty Majeski, defending champion, plus 4. Jake Garcia now minus 4. that means there's one Thor Sport truck right now in the top 10 in points. Right, if the playoffs started today, one Thor Sport truck would make it. Not Matt Crafton.
Thor Sport is just not the same. They're not
Ben Rhodes. Jake Garcia's looked pretty good. Not Jake. Ty Majeski, by the slimmest of margins, would be their only playoff representative. That is very surprising. Are they going to switch to Dodge? Is that what's going to happen? They're planning for a Dodge.
I mean,
a Ram. I'm sorry.
I feel like
switch?
they need to at this point. They're back to Ford. They're back to Ford now, right? They were a Ford when they had Haley Deegan. What did they go back to Toyota? Now they're back to Ford. Like they can't stay with a manufacturer.
That's the interesting part is like I kind of poked around a little bit with some people. I was like, hey, have you heard anything about? There's like no steam for that at all. Yeah. Like there's no steam of Thor Sport going to Ram. If anything, it sounds like they'll be back at Ford next year. Like it sounds like it's almost like more of a done thing. Again, things can change, but that surprised me because I'm like, if any team that's been slipping would need to, it's like the two teams I can think of are like them and Nice. Like those are the ones I'd be like, those would be some good options to go over to Ram and just kind of have a fresh start.
Now, aside from Ram being announced, there's no confirmation of any teams at all right now.
No, they're still trying to negotiate with some, and just like their goal is 4 to 6. We'll talk about it in a bit. I mean, we'll know. Michael Waltrip will tell us.
Oh, Amelia just stuck in.
Oh, hi.
She brought me some water. I wanted to say hi.
Hello. Dog. I gave him a bath.
Oh, you gave the dog a bath? Oh, all right. There's a lot of energy in this
Cosmo
room right
is clean.
He needed to be cleaned up, frankly. Sorry for that distraction. Thank you for cleaning the dog. Smelled like ass.
Ass.
I'm looking at the standings right now. I'm trying to look at some truck teams that might stand out as people that I could see going to Ram.
The big rumor was GMS might come back to some extent, but
there's
I don't know.
There's that. But if I see a team that has good drivers, decent performances, but could probably do better than what they're currently at. Who is it? Tyler Ankram's team. Him, Jack Wood, Connor Mozak. Yeah, I could see them. Being a candidate. I know. I think they started with Toyota and now they're with Chevy now.
They're running pretty good this year. I don't know if I'd change anything.
Well, they've got 2 trucks that are doing good, and they got 2 trucks. It might just be because it's Jack Wood and Connor Mozak. I don't know. That
would probably contribut to it, but I mean, you're right. There could be something there. I don't know.
They've got 2 good trucks and 2 just okay. They're a possibility. I don't see Front Row necessarily doing it, but they could make their trucks different than Cup. I don't know.
I guess they could have, especially if they want to maybe chase a Ram partnership in Cup one day and get out from under the shadow of Penske.
They can't put Ram in Cup.
Did I say Ram and Dodge or another Stellantis brand?
The funniest part is like everyone knows what we're talking about, and they'll still get pissed off either way.
I do my best. It's they're
AI genius. What can I say? Photoshop geniuses, make me a Ram and Cup. Let me see what that looks like.
Ooh, I don't know about that. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about Ram and the official announcement in the second half of the show, but we are at the halfway point, boys. Chat, we really appreciate your support. Let's get to our first super chat stage break presented by you at home. Thank you for the support. The Iceberg sent the first super chat, trying to get your XP up earlier in the what do they call it? The top fans right now.
I got Spencer.
Right now, Spencer, Groovy Goose, and I can't read the whole name. I can't read all the numbers. Brony something. I can't read all the numbers. Blue Jimmy fans in 4th. Ross Crashdane is in 5th. YouTube is doing this new, I don't know, like engagement ranking. Have fun with it, chat. Hunter Nixon Fishing, just before we went live with the very generous super chat, said, to me, it's criminal. We only go to Michigan once a year with this car. I think every year with the Gen 7 at Michigan, it's been a great race. And Jarrett, you had the stats, the Iceberg poll data to back that up. Yeah, there was a time just a few years ago, we dreaded the 2 summer Michigan dates. Now we wish we had it back, or we wish Fontana wasn't a warehouse district. Peanut the Racing Squirrel says, when you race back with the Squirrels, eventually you're bound to get hit by a nut. Yes, again, RIP to Peanut the Racing Squirrel. That was very sad. Nick, thank you for the 2, says, for Danny, what's your favorite modern railroad?
My favorite modern railroad. I mean, we have CSX that comes through us here in Tennessee. So, of course, that's what I get to see the most. I like occasionally going out to East Tennessee and seeing Norfolk Southern, but Norfolk Southern has a bad reputation compared to some of the others. I love I love BNSF. Getting to see them out in Montana was amazing, but I got to go out west to go see those.
I
Come
saw
through here that often.
BNSF went by my house today.
You had a BNSF train in the background of your video with that RC car.
They come through here all the time.
Which I thought that was awesome. It really put into perspective the scale of the car. So I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, I knew like that.
Next time I come see you, I'm bringing a camera because I'm filming a train by your house.
Good stuff. Twin Spinner says, my Michigan tickets rolled over from last year because of the rain out. So glad I made it back. Hope you had fun. Sounds like you had fun, Twin Spinner. That's awesome. Power of the Poof says, thoughts on swapping Alan Gustafson and Blake Harris, 2 elite crew chiefs, 2 stellar drivers, and the best cars cash can buy. Maybe they just need a new dynamic. Hendrick fans, weigh in the chat. Maybe you already did and I missed it. I don't know. I do feel the 9 and the 48, they need to shake something up. While they haven't obviously been bad this year, they're not as consistently fast as the 5 and the 24. Expectations are high. Yeah, why not mix and match?
I've got it. Let's bring back Lance McGrew.
Where is he? Is he out? What's he up to?
I don't even know. Jared, I'm kidding. Obviously, don't give me that look.
Jared gave you the death stare.
Those are cuss words to Dale Jr. fans.
We'll do a few more here. Sly Supersonic says, Denny Hamlin beat my favorite driver, ... again.
I loved the sorry, daddy.
People think it's cringe. If that becomes his catchphrase, I actually kind of like it. I think it's a solid catchphrase.
What? Sorry, daddy?
No, well, just I beat your favorite driver. He can give or take the daddy part of it. I just wish the interviewer would stop then saying, who are you talking to? Like, just let him say, I beat your favorite driver, period. End it there. He doesn't have to elaborate. I feel like that's like where it should. Anyway.
And I will say, I loved it. Even though I think he's a bandwagon fan for sure, I kind of loved the little troll job being in Michigan doing the OH.
Someone said Lance McGrew. I did think that was funny. Someone said McGrew is R&D at Hendrick.
Oh,
is that a meme or is that actually
must have been on the 48 or the 9 then?
Twin Spinner says the track formerly known as Atlanta Echo Park Speedway. Calypso, hello, have you seen the weather for Mexico?
Get out of here.
Fortunately, we have rain tires, but yes, it is looking a little soggy on Sunday. Couple more here. Justin Drake said, so how long are we giving it before the Brit Katherine Legge pulls out a British Imperial move and clobbers Suarez or any other car in general? She is in the field this week. She is the lone open. Well, no, yes, they haven't lost their charters yet. She is the lone open entry in the Cup race on Sunday. I actually think she'll be decent. Road course racing is her background. She's not in a good car, but I think she could be like solid enough, respectable.
I don't think she's even in the Xfinity race this weekend.
I know she's
not with Jordan Anderson.
I'd have to double check, but she is in the 78 Cup car. Calypso, on an actual serious note, have you heard about the Warner Brothers Discovery split? Will this have an effect on NASCAR on HBO Max? I've heard about the split. I don't see how it would impact HBO Max. Is HBO Max still owned by Warner Brothers? Because I thought it always was.
So it's more or less from what I've gathered is that it's like one part is going to do the producing and the other part is going to like show it on TV and stuff like that. But I think the part of it is like Turner is in a lot of debt and they might have to start offshooting and selling stuff off. And if that's the case, NASCAR would have the right to pull any part of their deal out if they were to be sold off to somebody else. I don't think it's going to really do anything. I think the more interesting one is seeing that Comcast, as of next year, won't own USA Network anymore.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Well, I think that'll do it for our first super chat stage break. We did get other super chats. We will get to those a bit later in the show. We do really appreciate your support, and it's been fun to see the live chat so active tonight. Oh, now they've added an asterisk here. McGrew retired in 2022 from Hendrick, according to Troy in the chat. We'll need to fact check that, but still, that's wild that he was still around as of 2022.
Get our best fact checkers. We need this to be fact checked by real certified Americans, patriots.
Yes. Yeah. Very dramatic. But yeah,
it's a meme from Facebook and stuff. So
oh, I see. I haven't ventured into the wilderness out there in quite some time. But yes, thank you all for leaving those super chats. We will get to the rest a bit later in the show. Really appreciate it. For now, though, we are under a severe weather delay here at NWP. We can't get to our next topics until this lightning round passes by us. Jarrett, what do we got tonight?
I think it might be a quick storm. Doesn't look to be too awful much, but of course we have the NWP channel. So episode replays, fun stuff like that. Keep updated. This is for our friends in the Detroit market. There's apparently a soccer game at the same time as the Xfinity race this Saturday. So unfortunately on your CW, they have chosen, not the main CW, but just their affiliate has chosen to air the race tape delay at 10 p.m. local time.
Oh no.
And they still are messing up the app on the CW side of things, so they can't watch it on the app as of now, at least.
With that being said, not that we condone it, I bet a lot of people in the Detroit area will be looking for streams from the Saudi Arabia area.
Stream East. Ahoy! So yes, it's going to be a fun day on the 7 Seas for our friends in Detroit. There's also going to be a Q&A.
I'm just letting the chat. Yar.
Are you ready, kids?
That's funny.
Aye, Captain. Rick, by the way, Rick Allen will be joining the Cars tour for broadcast. So,
Cool. Hey,
yeah,
good
good
for
one.
him. Yeah, that's great.
And then tomorrow there will be a Q&A for NASCAR 25 with game developer Matt Lewis on the NASCAR Discord server. I think Jesse Punch is hosting it. But definitely something that if you have time, I think it's like 2:30 Eastern.
I forget. Yeah, something like that.
But definitely something if you're interested is pretty good. I've gotten the chance to talk to him before, and he's a good guy. Pretty upfront with a lot of stuff about it. So definitely something I think people, if they're interested in the game, would want to be listening to, or at least find the snippets of later.
I agree with Enzo. I doubt we'll get it tomorrow in a Discord chat, but it'd be nice to get a release date or maybe
I
a
don't think
slightly
we will.
more specific release window.
If I can add something to the lightning round on the fly here, since
It's dangerous.
we're speaking of video game stuff, the Gen 4s were released by iRacing this week, and that's been really awesome to see all the old paint schemes being reintroduced into iRacing. I had seen someone just a few minutes ago. I seen someone made that fictional EA Sports 152 whatever like oil company that they made up was that someone put that into it.
Love
And
that.
the old 86 machine too.
That was it Fred Jones? That what his name was?
Fred Jones. That's right.
That's great.
So,
Love that.
and then next week we will be on Danny's channel Wednesday, June 18th.
Hello.
Should be a lot of fun. There might be a guest on that one. I'm not sure just yet. I do know, and I think we could say it for June 25th, and the week after that. Because that one will be on my channel. Michael Marutz will be coming on that one.
Do we have a fun graphic for Michael yet, or are we going to wait a week?
I'll get one. I'll get one for
Okay,
next
all
week.
right.
Grandpa, Michael's gonna come be on NWP.
Jimmy! I just remember that first time. So we can get a little behind the scenes on this. When we interviewed Jimmy, and we wanted Michael to really be a part of it, and he sent, and he had sent us in the video so we could, ask Jimmy the question, but we had to have him re-record it because the first one he was wearing a Jimmy Johnson helmet that he had to put the thing up, and he had a Jimmy Johnson giant doll on him. And
didn't we later show this? I think we showed this later.
Yeah, he showed it. He showed it on his channel.
Okay,
and there's just a pink background, and it's it's like they have like the lines of hearts that go over, and every one of them that wasn't a heart was Jimmy's face smiling. It was the most Michael Marutz thing, but we're like, we can't show this to them.
There's a level of professionalism here.
Knowing that Hendrick PR people, Jimmy's PR people, were going to at least see this at some point, we couldn't put that out there.
But
imagine if we did that today, and the drivers would have to submit that to NASCAR for DAP points.
I was on this show, guys.
NASCAR's like, you get negative points for that one, buddy.
Oh man, it's gonna be fun either way. We'll have to bring that up with him next week.
I'm looking forward to that. That's in 2 weeks. Next week on Danny B. 2 weeks,
yes.
The iceberg with Roots. Very excited about that.
I'm kind of jealous we don't get Michael on my channel now.
I worked to it because I think he just got married.
He did just get married.
I'd asked him like, hey, you want to come on this day? And he's like, yeah. So like, I'm kind of going to be on my honeymoon then. I'm like, yeah, that's more important.
So, no.
Wow, we are getting old. The four of us plus Michael are all married.
Yeah.
That's what all the cool kids are doing these days.
But that will be the lightning round. That's what these cool kids just did. And then we're going to head right on into it's funny. We're going to go from the lightning round to the headlines.
Graphics getting a workout here. Love that. Love that. Couple of quick stories, both from last week. So you've probably heard at least a couple of us already give our takes on this. You've probably already established your own opinion. What am I trying to say? You've probably already come to your own conclusions on a couple of these stories, but we're going to give you our takes anyways. NASCAR, da-dong. We need that sound effect. Last week, NASCAR officially won their appeal against the injunction request that was granted to 2311 and Front Row. So quick Spark Notes version. Back in the offseason, the two teams that are suing NASCAR applied for an injunction that was granted, allowing them to continue to race this season as chartered teams while the lawsuit is ongoing. Now, NASCAR had the right to appeal that. They did. There was a hearing a few weeks back where the judges seemed to question why the teams were allowed to have their cake and eat it too. Their take was, either you sign the agreement or you don't sign the new charter deal and sue, race as an open team. But you can't really do both. And so they overturned the initial injunction ruling. That's what came into effect last week, or that's what was decided last week. It actually doesn't go into effect until at least, I think, about 2 weeks from now, unless
I think it's before Atlanta, right?
I think at this rate, it's about 2 weeks from today, or give or take a day or two. It will go into effect. That is, unless the teams essentially appeal that appeal, like ask for a second or third opinion, which they can do. I think they have a few more days before that deadline hits. So we'll know in a few days when this reversal will go into effect. But if and when this does go into effect, that means 2311 and Front Row will lose their charters. That's 6 total charters, 3 apiece, that will essentially be reabsorbed by NASCAR for the time being. And then we'll go from there. Reddick, Wallace, Zane Smith, they'll race as open teams the rest of this year, which means theoretically, if you go to a race like Chicago or maybe one of the Talladegas later in the year, I don't know. Theoretically, there could be a race where one of them fails to qualify if they're slow. So the bigger thing here, though, is that means in the short term, 2311 and Front Row will be missing out on millions and millions of dollars per entry as far as charter payouts, because open teams do not make much money from the purse. Most of that money is reserved for chartered teams. So that could be a big hit for the race teams. Denny Hamlin reiterated this weekend at Michigan that they are going to race the rest of this season. They've assured all their employees it's business as usual. They're going to continue to contend. This doesn't impact their playoff eligibility in any way, shape, or form. It just puts some financial strain on the teams now. One final note before I'll let you guys chime in. This appeal, this reversal, it's a win for NASCAR, no doubt, but this was only about the injunction, which was focused on the release language in the charter agreement that says, hey, if you sign this, you can't sue NASCAR. That's what this appeal injunction was about. The result of this appeal has no bearing on the larger antitrust case. In fact, if you listen to that hearing a few weeks ago, the 3 judges that ultimately overturned the injunction actually agreed with the teams, hey, you might have a good antitrust case here. So just because the teams lost here, that has no impact on how the final trial will go in December, should it get to that point. So that's the final thing worth mentioning. Go ahead, Jarrett. What do you have to say?
I think at this point, it's just going to make it just tedious more than anything for the teams. Because the thing is that 2311 still has a connection with Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota, and they're going to be backed with that. And I think that was probably at the understanding. Front Row, tier 1 team. So I don't think it's really going to be anything too major, as much as it seems so major. I don't think it's going to be something that really is going to be noticeable probably to most fans. Now maybe I'm wrong and the money missing is that big. I don't see any of the drivers leaving or anything like that. And like I said, it has nothing to do really with the larger case overall. It's just another one of those like just little things that is just going to kind of get in the way.
It sticks
for
in your
this year.
craw.
Yeah. It's just gonna be like a gnawing thing that's constantly there, a little distraction. And I think the interesting part is like people talking, there's the possibility that like they'd have to like refund some of the charter money they got before or something or whatever people were bringing up. I don't know if that's the case or not.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's just, I'll be honest at this point with the NASCAR stuff. I just want to find the resolution or like the discovery phase. And I want to hear something like substantial, because I feel like we kind of all knew that this was going to happen once we heard the, you can't have your cake and eat it too quote. It's like, we kind of know, okay, if the judges are like that at this point, like, then yeah, you're probably going to end up with this kind of outcome. They'll probably appeal it, probably be another 4 weeks or something, and then it'll just probably just get caught up in court till the end. I don't even know if they'll even have it taken away, because I feel like it's just going to keep getting caught up in court, and they're just going to muddy it up until this winter.
That could always happen too, is they just keep going through all the motions, literally and figuratively, to just keep delaying and delaying and delaying until the trial in December. Maybe that's realistic, but I'm with you, Jared. At this point, I'm tired of hearing about, if I could go the rest of my life without hearing the word injunction ever again, because again, that has nothing to do with the actual antitrust case. At this point, I'm with you. I want to get to the discovery, whatever gets leaked out or gets published. I want to see it. I want to hear it. And then I want to get to the actual trial, or I want the two sides to settle. I want the actual case to be the focus. I'm tired of this injunction because it has no real larger scale bearing on anything.
I miss when the word I hated the most in NASCAR was encumbered.
I just
went from
thinking
encumbered to waiver to injunction. Those are like the three.
Hey, I'll throw in a phrase in there of one that I'm starting to get annoyed hearing: growing the sport. We hear it, everyone says it, and it's like that and OEM. It's like, it's just corporatese. That's all we're hearing. It's corporatese.
One of my least favorite phrases, and people say it a lot now, is put himself in position. Like, he does a really good job of putting himself in position to get a top 5, putting himself in position to take advantage of a wreck, putting himself. I've noticed a lot of commentators say it now, and I just can't help it. Every time somebody says, I go, ding, there it is. It just kind of bugs me a little.
I'll admit,
you mean like Carson Hocevar is putting himself in position to get.
Oh, I mean, it's harmless, but I just notice it a lot.
And we're just getting to these nagging things that, like you said, are harmless. I can't stand when I'm watching a race and like Marty Snyder's in the pits or Steve Letart's up in the booth, and they say, this is some really great racing we're seeing here 10 laps into the race at Charlotte. Like, look at this great racing. I'm not freaking blind. I can see, guys, like, talk about it. I don't want to hear, like, it's like the show don't tell in shows,
Yeah.
It's like the same thing with broadcasting. Like, I don't want you to tell me it's great racing. I want you to tell me like why it's great racing.
It's like, it's the same way like the multicam sitcom has kind of died out a bit. It's like, I don't need to be told when to laugh. I'll laugh when. Yeah,
dude, if you sit in the other room, like if you sit like a room or two away from like Big Bang Theory, this is what killed the Big Bang Theory for me. Cause like my family used to watch it, and I was, and I used to watch it, is I sat in the other room, and all you hear every time the laugh track comes on is you just hear white noise. And I'm like, oh, it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Timothy in the chat, I agree with this one. I did what I had to do. Yeah, I don't like that. That's an annoying phrase too.
The advancements in safety, or this car is so safe. I see Monopoly Man Morgan. It's like, we haven't thought of something new to say in 25 years since Dale died about how safe we are now.
Yeah. Anyway,
no, remember the old one? There's JK Speed with the old one. We like what we're seeing.
Oh, classic.
Sam Ketchum, you're just targeting one person here. I hate hearing he's got a real fast hot rod tonight.
Oh man, yeah, that is throwing one particular man under the bus.
Just next time, just say I hate Clint Boyer.
Damn.
The other one I've hated recently is the, what I want to announce, Cletus McFarland to trucks.
Dude,
God, he's drunk.
That was so silly.
I swear to God, every broadcast now I'm it's the bottom of Jack Michael.
I'm wondering now, were they actually going to announce something like that? Because we got really nothing past just him coming back, and then Michael did that. And it's like, well, we're gonna get rid of that for now.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like that's a big rumor, but yeah, Michael Waltrip saying it like it was a definitive fact on the broadcast before the actual manufacturer had a chance to confirm it or not is really weird.
I was surprised that they even brought it up on the broadcast because it technically hadn't been announced, and then they basically just said, "Look at this tweet from Ram. They've got something going on." And it's like, okay, Jamie, they haven't said anything. You shouldn't be talking about this right now.
That part played kind of like a commercial, so I was like, okay, I get what they're doing. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Tune in tomorrow. Look at Ram, but then the Michael Waltrip Cletus line felt like, whoa, why did you
just
say
straight
that?
up? Just straight up. I want them to announce that Cletus McFarland is going to go.
Well, he said it like, "I'd like to announce Cletus." Yeah, that's how he said it, and that's why I was like, "What are you doing?"
And I saw a lot of people being like, well, why are people mad about this? Like, their media, they can talk about it. Like, I think there's a difference between a broadcast who's supposed to be calling the race itself and maybe hinting at something, saying something, and then a journalist leaking it out or a YouTuber leaking it out or something like that. I think there's like there's a bit of like there's a glass pane plane or whatever between the two.
Save that for Bianchi, guys. I mean, come on.
Well, that, and it's also like the Cletus thing, as far as we know, is just rumor. I mean, it's been reported on that it's in, like, I believe the discussions are real, but I don't think it's for sure a done deal yet. So like to just come out and say like as a professional,
on their radar for sure.
Yeah, to be like the main broadcast partner of the Truck Series and to like just say that like it's a fact, it's just weird. Like when it hasn't been announced, it's just weird. Anyway,
I think we need to have Mikey, every time he goes on a broadcast, we need to have him sign NDAs.
Someone said Mikey didn't sign an embargo. Yeah, maybe that's it. Well, this actually has become a transition. I think we've moved off NASCAR. And yeah, let's talk a little more about the Ram announcement. I mean, everyone's seen it. You saw the truck. You saw the gender reveal on the front stretch before the Cup race. We talked earlier a bit about, what teams could sign with them. That's the most important thing, is that they announced this, but then straight up said, yeah, we don't really have any teams linked up with, but we're open for business. Who wants to work with us? We want to have a few trucks by Daytona. Who's like, they said, we're looking for a date for the prom. So yeah, I just think it's kind of what here's my thing. I haven't said this yet, but the more I think about it, this is how I feel. I worry a little that this is almost impulsive. Like literally a year ago this time, Ram had killed off the Hemi. They were like, we're not building V8s anymore. We're done. And within the last 12 months, they've not only done a total 180 on that, but they've launched this whole marketing campaign to say, hey, we were wrong. You were right. We're back better than ever. We're coming to NASCAR. 3 years from now, 2 years from now, we're going to be in Cup as well. I'm like, whoa.
Did you see the quote of like NASCAR has 20 million fans, but we're going to grow to 100? And I'm like, what the hell?
One of my old car sales managers, I think he's now at a Dodge Ram dealership in Florida these days. But from what I've heard from him, I think business went bad for Stellantis, especially in the trucks department.
I hear that too, and they have a ton of different car brands, so I'm sure it fluctuates. But that's just my point. Is I know the automotive industry. What I do know about it is that it's very volatile right now. Governments have different regulations, expectations around alternative fuels, EVs, hybrids. Consumer demands are constantly changing. Post-pandemic costs, production, tariffs are changing. Like the automotive industry is changing daily. That's why I think it's taken so long for a Honda or whoever to actually pull the trigger on NASCAR, because they're not exactly sure what they want to build and what they want to promote. So for Ram, Stellantis to 1 year ago say, we're done making V8s, to suddenly we're making V8s, we're bringing back the Hemi, and we're going NASCAR, and we're going to be in Cup. It feels impulsive. And I just they don't even have a team signed up yet. So that's why I have no doubt they'll be in trucks next year. I believe Ram will be in trucks. But when they talk about going to Cup in 2 to 3 years, that is the part, I hate to say it, I'm a little skeptical. I think it'll probably happen, but I'm a little skeptical. It just doesn't really feel like they have a firm plan at this point, and that concerns me a tiny bit.
I hope we at least get to see them make a Cup car, just so we can see it, because we did see a Gen 6 Dodge Cup car. We just never saw it race. We did see what one looked like. So at least make one. Let me see what it looks like, guys.
Yeah, I just, the whole thing with Dodge that's interesting, and Ram and all that, I think it was 22 or 23. I think it was summer of 2022. Like they were ready. Like they were ready to just jump on in. And I remember David talking about it, how they were like 80% of the way there. And they just needed to like, cross some T's, dot a few I's, and they're going to be back in NASCAR within a year or two and stuff like that. And then kind of all fell apart. And Steve Phelps, of course, he's been like, everyone looked at Steve Phelps like he was Chicken Little, like he was saying the sky was falling and everyone's like, whatever. And then it finally was like that was him with the fourth OEM. We're like, sure, Steve, it's totally in the room with us right now. And then like the light comes on behind us. It's like that scene in The Dark Knight and there's Ram standing right there.
I think they have somebody, because somebody helped them make the design of this truck. I don't know if it was solely done into.
I think that's where the GMS rumors came in. But GMS doesn't have a truck team right now, so
the truck is basically the same with all the other trucks. It's just the nose and the rear end of it. Like that's the only
somebody
thing
had to design that.
Yeah.
The trucks is easy because there's you don't have to build an engine.
I'm just saying, I don't think they just made this up in Detroit. Like they worked with some kind of NASCAR team to make what we've seen.
That part I think is. I think someone in North Carolina was involved. Let me put it that way, or something. Like there was probably.
It's not just a bunch of people up in Detroit. Hey guys, let's hammer. Yeah, that looks like NASCAR. Yeah, put it out there, guys.
I mean, it is just a show truck. So I mean, I don't know if that would
knowing how Stellantis and them have been so far. If they are impulsive, they might have been doing. They might have just went, let's do NASCAR, guys.
Rah rah. I mean, I'm excited. I'm obviously very excited to have Ram back in trucks. And I hope it does lead to a legit Stellantis Cup investment in 2 to 3 years. That would be awesome. Yeah. It'll probably happen. I'm just a little concerned because I hear about their businesses fluctuating and I see what seems to be kind of them pivoting really quickly, very impulsive. And I hope that this is a long-term investment. They don't flame out in 5 years. There's also the rumors of a Honda is being close to entering. That would also be cool. The more OEMs, the better, because they can lift up and fund other teams and just get more competitive racing. That's the way I see it.
That one's interesting because of like their kind of disgruntledness and unhappiness and like being out like with the way David put it, like out the door with IndyCar. But then also a Toyota leaving, I believe NHRA they left recently.
Yeah,
like
or about
they
to
could
or
jump
something.
into IndyCar or something. Like I feel like the whether it be the TV side. What changes, whether it be OEMs moving around, all of that, like the American motorsports landscape, I think by 2030 is going to look unrecognizable to what it looks like right now. Like between the NASCAR there's 5 OEMs or 5 manufacturers. I kind of want to call it manufacturers because OEM sounds so just stale. If there's 5 manufacturers in NASCAR at that point in the Cup Series, especially, like I don't see how you can't expand the field at that point.
That's when they might unleash those 4 extra charters or whatever, and we get 40.
Yeah. And the question I have too is, at what point does because he got stifled this time, but if the France family wants something in NASCAR, they generally get it. And I'm wondering, like, if Jim France really wants to have his own team here, like, will he force his way in? Like, oh, we're getting Honda back, and it's with the France team.
Well, certainly if 2311 and Front Row lose their charters permanently, there's 6 he could play with. He could play. I mean, I guess he can only own 3, right? So
I'll open another team.
yeah. Bring Brian back. You're the face of this other team.
We'll have an alcohol embargo on that team.
Oh God. It'll be interesting. No, I think the 3 of us very excited to see Ram back. Hope it's long term. Hope they're successful. Curious to know what teams might sign with them. But yeah, we'll find out by February. Hopefully sooner than February. We'll know more information.
From what I've been seeing, the return of the V8 is not just for the trucks department either. I think they are looking at putting it back into some of their production cars and stuff. I don't think sales have been that great for the electric Challenger or whatever it was they put out.
I could have told you that was going to happen.
Not shocked to hear that. No.
And I think the challenge, if they did get a Cup car, a Challenger makes sense. I don't know. Did they still make the Charger or did they quit that one?
I think they discontinued both at the time, and then they brought one back as an electric car. I don't remember.
The thing is that I would bring back the Charger. Chargers make great police cars too. A lot of police forces have several, like 2013, 2014 Chargers they're still using.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see if Dodge comes back behind Ram. will be really interesting. But those were the headlines. It's time. Do we have the Christopher Bell sound bite? It's time to have some fun.
This is fun. We're having fun.
I said it better myself. We'll begin with the prediction / accountability segment. Every week, each host makes 2 NASCAR racing or show related predictions. We keep track every week in our accountability session, and we'll try to keep our picks pretty concise within the next couple of years. So let's kick things off. Jarrett, who is up first? Oh, Danny, 1 for 1. Said Carson Hocevar will lead laps in both Michigan races. He did just that. Well done, Danny B. All right, who's next? Oh, Jarrett, taking a week off, I see. All right.
Another one. Yes.
Gosh.
I had to go back and see what I had last week, and I was like, oh, yeah, the other one's not off the board for a while.
My prediction was not great. Ford was probably the 3rd manufacturer. Actually, no, that's not true. Chris Buescher was really fast. He won a stage, almost won the race at the end. So actually, that aged better than I'm giving myself credit for, but it was still wrong. Still.
Yeah.
I thought that was a layup. These are the standings. Danny is up to 34% correct on the year. Jarrett at 32. Damn, I'm down to 25.5. This is,
dude. You are tanking. You're like you're getting to be where I was at the start of the year when I had 4%.
I know I had some like maybe a little bit easier ones coming up down the line, but yeah, anyway, I got it
all time.
Yeah, my all time is still good, but I'm in the basement. That's not good.
You even let me pass you all time.
It's not good. Not good.
The specifics on the all time. We're actually very close in number of predictions right. Jarrett has 49. I have 47. Eric has 45. The difference is I have 148 off the board. Eric has 150 off the board. Jarrett only has 123 off the board. He still got several that's baking long term.
Oh,
gosh,
yeah.
Fire hazard.
Those are going to be baking for a long time. I'll just say
some well done. Hard as a rock. Well, I've got my predictions ready. Do we want to kick things off with Danny B?
Yep. Have to now. I'm the leader.
He's the leader.
All right. They've been drinking a lot on Prime here lately, but I'm going to say the NASCAR on Prime team will eat tacos on the Prime stage at some point in Mexico City.
They got to do that.
That's funny. I would be shocked if they didn't, frankly. Okay. Jarrett, what about you?
I'll go with this one. I think the Mexico Cup race on Prime will have over 2 million viewers. New thing, generally new things that NASCAR tries. Get more people to come in and watch. I think that'll be something that hopefully will happen this week. I'm going to try and speak it into existence.
I think it'll happen. I feel good about that one. Rain delays could cause. It'll
be fair too. The last one, I mean, we're down. It's been a consistent drop these last 3 weeks. Yeah. So I don't think it's a layup.
My first prediction, Tyler Reddick, you look at his qualifying numbers the past few years at road courses, dude like averages a 5th place start nearly. I think he'll qualify top 5 at Mexico City. It's my first prediction. Danny, what's your second one?
I know he's the favorite, so to speak, to some extent, but Daniel Suarez will not get a top 10 in either race this weekend, including the JRM Xfinity ride.
Diabolical.
Seeing how Danny is my number 1 competition this year, I'm going to make a prediction that is to the opposite of one of his. Ty Dillon will get a top 10 this year. The swing will be great.
Well, go ahead,
killing the squirrel was the sacrifice needed to get up. He didn't.
That feels
to be sacrificed.
I'll let that one. So that feels a little like a layup, but I
don't know. It's Ty Dillon we're talking about here.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure he averages a couple of top 10s a year.
Oh my God, I'm not reading this on there, but read Matthew Allen's chat real quick.
Missed it. Oh. So my final pick, this is going to be, the chat's not going to like this one. Katherine Legge will finish top 30 on Sunday. That's my pick. Anyway.
Where's Moonhead?
We have, what's up next? We have the Brand driver of the week. He said, "Hang the banner." I was waiting for a sound effect. That's what I was waiting for.
I was just hang the banner, baby, hang the banner.
I
But
was
yeah,
waiting for some sort of acknowledgement. But yes, it's time for random driver of the week.
random dancing.
We have a dang tie, guys.
Yes, we do at 22 apiece for Danny and Eric.
Oh, and a tie with you and the guests.
Yeah, that's right. I think 6 apiece for both of us. So Eric has 2 of the last 5 with Chase Briscoe and Jimmy Means. I got 3 in a row with Hut Strickland, Jody Ridley, and Tiny Lund. Danny has been on a cold streak lately.
I'm doing just as good as Bowman here lately.
And maybe you can turn his luck around.
Bye, chat.
See you in a few
All
minutes, chat. See you on the other side.
I'll keep the chat up on my end because I think it'll
On
be fun
the
to
other
watch.
side.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Aye, Captain.
I can't hear
Yar.
you. Sing it just like was it Corey Taylor from Slipknot? They sing that at the concerts. It's so damn fun.
Oh, that's crazy.
This random driver hails from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Oh, okay. Hey, Luke. No, I'm not going to guess it yet. There's no way it's Hey, Luke Ashner's. That'd be too obvious. We're going to let that one slide. Let that one simmer.
This random driver has competed in 1 Daytona 500.
Hey, I'm going to throw it out there. Helio Castroneves. Final answer.
Helio Castroneves.
Damn it. I knew it was too obvious.
I knew I knew these first ones I had to.
I don't know if he's
'cause,
actually from Sao Paulo. I don't actually know where he's from in Brazil.
I don't know if this guy's. I think he's from Brazil. I don't know if he's around Daytona 500, but I'll just say Nelson Piquet Jr. Now we've each put one out there.
Nelson Piquet Jr. That answer is
All right. We each got one off the board, Eric. If you're going to go down, I'm going to go down with you.
I
this
salute
random
you, Sailor.
driver. This random driver's only Daytona 500 start was in a Chevrolet. So I thought I would put the bait out there longer with
Yeah.
I mean that would have also gotten Elio. So
this random driver has 1 top 10 in ARCA.
he definitely didn't do it. That would have gave it away.
I was putting the bait out there, and I was like, man, I thought I'd get somebody with it.
This still counts for Helio. He was 5th at Daytona, right?
This random driver has 2 top 5 points finishes in kart.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, okay.
By the way, a lot of the chat's already got it.
What? I guess there's not that many Brazilian NASCAR drivers.
This random driver raced at a time for Haas in kart.
Can't say I know much about my kart
I don't know
rosters.
much about kart. I know Allmendinger was there, but it definitely ain't him.
This random driver's best finish in F1 was 4th 3 times.
Oh, in Formula 1 races or championship?
I believe races.
Oh, okay.
I will admit I got these clues put together like a month and a half ago because I was thinking like, hey, my kid is due this week.
Sure. You're prepared in advance.
My kid got here.
So you're saying this?
early
Wait,
on,
are you
like,
saying?
pennies.
Are you saying this driver could have finished in the top? Had more like a F1 podium since then? Is that what you're saying? So they're an active. I don't know if he's saying that.
This random driver also regularly raced in IMSA.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I have no clue.
I'm blanking here.
This random driver ran the 24 Hours of Le Mans 3 times in 2006, 7, and 8.
Okay, so that's probably when they were peak.
This random driver had a career high finish of 2nd in the 1995 Indy 500.
Okay, so they're an older
Well done.
driver then.
Good job.
This random driver ran these numbers in his racing career.
Is this not just NASCAR?
Not just
He just said his racing career.
That's a hint. Huge.
5,
Okay.
9, 11, 15, 16, 23, 26, 30, 33, 39, 43, 44, 45, 54, 59, and 66.
Execute order 66.
Some of those numbers were NASCAR numbers.
Can we get any indication as to which ones may have been NASCAR?
No.
Was 43 like the petty or like the 5? Were those NASCAR?
He's not going to tell us. Quit asking.
I'm just trying to think like which of these are like the most iconic NASCAR numbers. The
I'll tell you the
5.
OEMs that this random driver ran in his career.
Is this
Okay.
all? Is this across all racing series?
Oh, he
Garrett,
exists everywhere, Eric. Quit asking for specifics.
I'm trying to help you too, Danny. We're on the same team, kind of.
Chevrolet, Ford, Dodge, Pontiac, Toyota, Lamborghini, Lexus,
Yes, the
Acura,
Hendrick Lamborghini.
and Porsche.
I didn't even write those down. I just wrote down the ones that might have been in NASCAR.
This random driver's first name was after a Brazilian driver that was killed in a wreck during the 1963 24 Hours of Le Mans. This random driver is part of a racing family.
It's not the PKs, not Carson Neves, not Senna.
This random driver is driven for Andretti and ran for Kyle Petty Racing in ARCA.
Ooh.
Kyle Petty Racing.
Yes.
Is this my guy Christian Fittipaldi? Oh, correct.
Oh, that's a good one.
What? I didn't even know he was Brazilian. I just like that
Christian
name.
Fittipaldi. Correct.
Wow.
I only knew him before doing all this research. I only knew him because he was the guy that always ran 41st on NASCAR Thunder 04.
That's why he's my favorite driver of all time.
I don't even think I knew he was Brazilian. So
I didn't either. I just knew he had a wacky name. And when I was thinking Petty because I saw 43, 44, 45. And then I was starting to just think of like mid 2000s Petty. And I thought of Chris because of NASCAR Thunder 2004. I couldn't tell you what Christian Fittipaldi looks like, but I know his car from NASCAR Thunder.
you know, I started to wonder. I'm glad I didn't say it because it would have been wrong. But I started to wonder, was it Nelson Piquet Sr.? I only said junior.
The last clue I had written down. So I had 23 clues.
Fittipaldi, they're saying. My bad. What did I say? Fittipaldi?
Yeah, you said Fittipaldi.
Very southern over here. My mistake.
The last clue, in case you guys like needed like the hit you on the head clue, was that this random driver was a notable back marker in EA NASCAR games.
Oh my god, that would have given it away for me instantly.
You could have also said his name is a religion.
I could have.
Oh, I guess yes.
Islam Andretti. All right. That's the stupidest thing I've said all night.
Someone clip that out of context.
That should be out of context.
Does that mean I'm taking the lead or are we tied now?
Yes,
No,
yeah.
you have the lead.
Oh, that was unfair
23.
though. That's my guy. I need to find someone. I'm gonna go on eBay later and look for a Christian Fittipaldi t-shirt from like the mid 2000s.
You know
I
what
thought you
we
were about to
should
say
do?
diecast, and I was like, I don't think they made those.
Well, they may not have.
You know what we should do is for like either the season finale or like next season's premiere, we should just find that random driver that we're for some odd reason connected to in some weird ass way and just show up with like their shirt on or a hat or something like that. Like who the hell is
Ooh.
going to have a Christian Fittipaldi shirt?
I found there's a Christian Fittipaldi like Cheerios like jacket. Actually, no, full fire suit for $400 on eBay.
Oh my gosh.
Some of these in the chat, these are great.
What are they doing? What's going
Indy, Senna, Church of Scientology Johnson, Church of Christian Fittipaldi, Jehovah's Fittipaldi.
That's silly. I'm not buying
These are
I'm not
great.
buying a Christian Fittipaldi fire suit for $426 or best
Agnostic
offer.
Fittipaldi.
I could lowball and maybe get it for cheap.
I'm
well,
just
that was
waiting
fun.
for somebody to, name like the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster Earnhardt.
On that note, let's talk Mexico City, gentlemen. Some weekend notes going into this exciting international adventure. If Denny Hamlin's son isn't born by like tomorrow, it sounds like he will not be making the trip to Mexico City. Ryan Truex is on standby.
I'm surprised that none of us made a prediction on whether or not Hamlin would race this weekend.
Yeah,
We did not.
Feels too 50-50. I don't know.
Icarus would not fly that close to the sun.
Few notable drivers in the field. Katherine Legge, we've already talked about, is in the Cup race. Chastain and Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell are all in the Xfinity race. Chastain's in
no. That's Suarez in that car.
What?
Suarez is in the 9 car.
Is he? Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah, right. We have Ross Chastain listed in the notes. But yeah, no, it'd be Suarez in the 9, Ty Gibbs in the 19. I was like, Suarez in the 19? Danny, what year is this? But no, yeah, you're right. Suarez in the 9, Ty Gibbs in the 19, Christopher Bell in the 24.
Because that's why I said that Suarez would not get a top 10 in either race this weekend.
My mistake took the wrong notes down there. The Xfinity Series race Saturday is I'm gonna butcher this. What is this? The Chilango 150, 65 laps, 20-20-25 stage breakdown starts at 4:30 Eastern Saturday on the CW MRN. Weather is mid-70s with some possible showers, 45% chance of rain. Kyle Busch is the defending winner all the way back in 2008. The Cup race is the Viva Mexico. Viva Mexico. I don't know. How do you pronounce it? 250, 100 laps. It is a 20-25-55 stage breakdown. Remember, stage cautions are back at road courses. So that will throw a wrench into strategy, unfortunately. 3 p.m. Eastern start Sunday on Amazon Prime Video, also on MRN. And similar weather, mid-70s, scattered storms and showers, 45% chance of rain. This is the inaugural Viva Mexico 250 for the NASCAR Cup Series. So there is no defending winner. Let's look at the pick points. I think we have a new leader. Unfortunately, Jarrett is now on top. I've had a bad few weeks. I'm second now, 5 points back. Danny, 23 back. Chat, 30 points back. Oof.
Man, chat, like, we're not falling. We're just not moving from this place we're in right now.
This purgatory you find yourself stuck within. I'm actually not sad to be in second like that at a road course where I have some names that I want to snipe from Jarrett. So I'm actually okay with this for this week only.
Yeah,
I will accept second.
I'll say, you know what I also took the lead in is total victories so far. I finally got my cup one on the board this year. So we all have picked correct in all 3 series this year.
I have the fewest total win picks this year, only 3. I'm just consistently getting like seconds and thirds, except for recently, apparently.
Shocker, the Matt Kenseth fan.
Well, yeah, you are Matt Kenseth 03 or William Byron 2025. By the way, I just had to look up what is the Chilango because of that name. And the AI overview from Google says the Chilango can refer to several things, primarily a slurred slang term for people from Mexico City, a restaurant, and a cookbook. It can also be used in the context of a NASCAR race in Mexico City. So I'm not sure what this is. It's either a cookbook, it's a restaurant. I'm leaning towards a restaurant.
Or it's a slur.
It's a slur.
I think maybe they mean like a slang term. I
God
said it.
help us
Let's
if you're
hope it
raised
doesn't
in
go
Africa. Damn.
I'm hoping now Jarrett didn't write it down wrong in our notes.
Now I'm really hoping. Now you're getting me worried.
Maybe that's why this is why we shouldn't trust AI just yet, because I don't know if a slur is the right thing to say.
I wrote the right thing.
All right. Wow. Anyway, let's make our picks before we accidentally get ourselves into international hot water here. Chat, you get to go first, and we'll start with who's going to win the Xfinity Series race, the redacted 150.
Seems pretty clear who they're going with. I have a feeling they might say the same number for both picks, honestly.
Are they Zillbillies this week?
88. Yeah, a lot of Zillbillies in the chat.
They
Connor
are
Zillich.
Zillbillies.
Connor Zillich is the chat's pick. Yep, that's a good, solid, safe bet, I believe. Danny, what about you?
That was my number 1 pick, and I was a little torn on who to go with for the second one. But you know what? I'm going to go with him at least for an Xfinity race. I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs on this one.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, man, I'm scared now. Shoot. Oh, I hate this. I'm actually nervous. I was kind of hoping I'd get Ty Gibbs at 3. Oh, man. Okay. All right. I'll take Daniel Suarez. Why not? That 9 car has been iffy, but Daniel's raced here before. He's an Xfinity champion. Give me the 9.
Okay. This is the interesting part for me because I got to go and I got to look at some of the regs. There's 2 I'm looking at right now, and I don't know I don't know which one I'm more confident, but I think I'm going to follow up after how fast he was before. I think he'll be a solid contender this week. I'll go Carson Quapple.
Okay.
He was
I thought
up
about that
front
one.
racing with Zilich at Coda, and
Yeah, he surprised some folks there for sure.
I think he's good enough. I think
Yeah.
I think he'll be good.
All right, chat. Who's going to suck in the Cup Series race, the Viva Mexico 250? That one I can't say. I think that means like go Mexico. Woo.
Woo! I took like 5 years of Spanish and it didn't stick.
Yeah. All right, chat. Where are we leaning? Who's going to suck?
Seeing a lot of 11s, and I think they're banking on him not being there.
Well, I said it earlier. Denny's road course numbers are kind of cheeks, frankly. So
Dookie.
even if he does race, honestly, Truex might give him a better shot.
I'll give him the 11. I think.
Yeah, give him the 11.
Should I put Hamlin on this or Truex?
Just
both?
put 11.
Sarah, or Danny, what about you?
I'm gonna go with the other one they were saying, the 48. It's been a bad ride, and I don't expect it to get any better right now.
Oh, brutal. I'll go Brad. That was probably gonna be Jared's pick. Give me Keselowski.
No, I was gonna go Bowman too.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Never mind.
Yeah.
Right now.
Wow. Picking on a guy when he's down.
I mean, what else can I do? I already made the mistake of saying that guy would make a top 10 at every prime race, and he's just crashed every car.
Ooh, that prediction. Oh man. All right, chat. Well, then who's a good dark horse pick? An underdog, someone who might surprise. Let us know, chat. Give you a second to reset. Give you a moment. Who you guys got? Give us some good sleeper picks, some underdogs. Okay, trickling in. Hocevar, hometown. It's not hometown. Home country for Daniel Suarez. Yeah, I think a few Katherine Legge. I saw them; they were real.
I think I see 77 the most.
I think I do too, though. It's not. There's a lot of 71s just came in. I mean, it's the underdog pick, so it's not the most important one. We don't keep track of this one for points. A lot of Suarez is coming.
I think the 71s I keep saying are kind of the same person. Okay. So I'll say 77.
Then let's just give him Hocevar. I don't think they're going to pick Hocevar to win. There are a lot of 99s, but I kind of want to leave that available. They might pick him to win. You never know.
So
Mexico City.
We're giving him
race. We're giving them Hocevar, I think.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that then.
They're probably not going to pick Suarez or Hocevar to win, but yeah, anyway.
Never know.
My underdog is the last driver to win a NASCAR here, Kyle Busch.
Ooh, okay.
I think it's a good one, especially how we ran at Coda.
Yeah, I like Kyle Busch would have been my pick, underdog pick as well. I'll try to think if there's a good.
I mean, you can be the same.
Yeah, I was trying to think if there's another guy I could spot. Like, I mean, I'll mention Chris Buescher, even though he's not really an underdog, but like he hasn't won this year. He hasn't won since his last win, which was at a road course last year at Watkins Glen. So I'll at least mention Chris Buescher. He could be a sneaky win pick.
So that's your pick for
sure. He's my underdog. Yeah, dark horse.
Okay, I'll go Hocevar. I think he can get a solid top 10 out of this.
Momentum. All right. Then that means it's time for the chat to decide who is going to win the inaugural Cup Series race at Mexico City.
And as expected, they're taking the 88 in both races.
They typed that before I'd even finished introducing it. And there's like a 5-second delay. How are they doing this?
They are taking the 88 both
Jump
races.
the restart to the back of the field.
Yeah, they know that is pulling out of line before the start finish. Chat, you will now pick fourth. Danny, you can have Shane Van Gisbergen. I'm just kidding.
I had SVG first, but no one basically just scratch him out.
Yeah, I don't know why I wrote him down either. Shane Van Gisbergen is the chat's pick. Danny, who's your pick?
I don't know if I love this pick or not, but I'm going to go McDowell supremacy.
Ooh, outside the box a little bit.
See, Spire has been putting together strong cars for Hocevar here lately. And I don't know if Carson brings another good run, but Spire's capable of producing good cars. This is their driver they need to focus on for this weekend.
I am so glad this guy was left for me. Tyler Reddick is my pick to win the Viva Mexico 250.
Well, I'm so glad that you left my number 2 pick then too. I'm going to go Christopher Bell. He's going to be solid.
He is running the Xfinity race. I think that's important. That's a good plus.
I ended up not writing him down. because I didn't want to make this pick, and I'm glad none of us did. But you know who kept standing out to me to think about picking?
Chris Buescher.
No, the guy who wins every darn new thing we have, Joey Logano.
That's just Mexican racing.
Viva Mexico. If he wins this race
Viva
somehow,
Mexico.
he has like his road course numbers are not great lately. If he wins this race, I'm gonna fall.
My
out of
favorite
my chair.
Mexican restaurant is Taco Bell.
Yeah, boys, we did it. Give me a Mexican Coke and let's get tacos. Come on,
get it.
guys.
I actually like Mexican Fanta instead.
I'm more of a gordita crunch kind of guy.
I like my chalupas.
That's nuts. That's nutty. Yeah, nobody picking Byron. A little surprised. So I had my top 4 were SVG, Reddick, Bell, Byron. Those are my 4.
My top 4 were SVG, Bell, Buescher, Reddick.
Okay. All right.
I really thought I was going to be rolling the 17 this week. So when I saw the 20 was open, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go.
Okay. All right. Well, good picks. Fun to pick our first road course in quite some time. This has been also a very fun show. Let's wrap things up with our final super chat.
We're having fun.
Stage break, courtesy of Christopher Bell, providing us unknowingly with that great soundbite for our show. Groovy Goose, this was a little earlier in the show, said, wait, Chase Elliott has been driving this whole season? I thought Corey LaJoie was still in the 9 or something. Seriously, though, do you like Prime so far? Yeah, Prime's coverage has been very, very good, except for my small gripe about their post-race procedures. But yeah, man, a little unnecessary dig at Chase Elliott and Corey LaJoie. In one fell swoop, Groovy Goose took down 2 guys. Ironic that the bird just killed 2 with 1 stone. Anyway, Jarrett's munching on his chicken there in front of Groovy Goose. That is devious. Will and Norm with the super chat says, hey, Eric, are you going to be at Pocono? I'll be there. And who's your pick to win Pocono? I'm not currently planning to be at Pocono. Went a few years ago. It was gorgeous. Had a great time. Would love to go back. Not going to happen this year as far as I'm currently planning. Who's going to win Pocono? Gosh, it's a few weeks out. Or I guess 2 weeks out. So we should probably be thinking about it. I'll go Denny. I think Denny will do it. Just won Michigan. Similar high speed intermediate. He's won there a lot. Feels like his year. SW says, I saw auto racing analytics. Logano's performance at Michigan is so bad. Cody Ware is behind him. Yeah. Grant shared that like graphic of the track and he shows where like everybody would have finished if they'd run their, median lap over the last round or whatever. And yeah, Logano was in Cody Ware territory at the end of that race, which was concerning. I don't know if they had like a tire issue or what, but yeah, he finished like outside the top 20. Rowdy 8 Diecast says, if KB doesn't win, he's probably cooked when it comes to the playoffs. Yeah,
I mean, he's hanging right there in the cutoff line right now.
He probably needs to win. I think Mexico City, he wasn't in my top 4 picks. I probably would have put him like 6th or 7th in my picks, though. Like he could be a real formidable threat. He was the best car at Coda a few months ago. So Justin Drake, this was when we were talking about Memorial Day weekend, says the battle of the open wheel series on North American soil for Memorial Day weekend. I've got IndyCar over F1. Indy 500 runs laps around any F1 race weekend. I think most of us here would agree. Indy 500, it doesn't get much better than that. Thank you for the 2 Canadian earlier from Milo Gunther. Appreciate the support. Jason Carney, thanks for the 5, says, is it time to fire Blake Harris yet? Poor qualifying in last year's DNF. He has to be on the hot seat. Don't know if he means last year's or last week's DNF, but yes, this is our second super chat, basically asking to swap Blake Harris out of the 48. I just remember how highly touted he was when he came over there. Didn't he win? He was with Michael McDowell, right? When McDowell won, did he win the Daytona 500 with McDowell? He won that Indy road course race with McDowell, I'm pretty sure. Or am I wrong about that too?
Thought he won the second one there, yeah. But I will admit I'm not that well versed in the.
I think Blake Harris left after 2022, and so McDowell in 23 had like a slightly worse overall season, but he won Indy. I could be wrong about that. Either way, I know Blake Harris. Right. When Hendrick signed him for Bowman, we were all like, damn, big teams poaching the good guys from the small teams. And now 2-3 years later, everyone's like, Blake Harris must be the problem. I don't know if I feel the same way, but I think Hendrick's close to.
Blickensturfer was on the box for the 500.
Oh, so does Blake Harris have any wins outside of Chicago last year?
Indy road course.
That was Harris with the Indy road course. Okay, good. I was rewriting history for a moment there. Thank you for steering me back into line. Skipper the Penguin Thank you for the super chat. What do y'all think? What do y'all guys think about Bowman and how the rest of his season goes? Does Bowman get re-signed with Hendrick, and will Bowman the Showman get a win? I'm not sure I'm feeling a win. It's interesting because next season, both he and Larson will be in contract years. I imagine Larson will resign. I would be shocked if they didn't. Bowman will be a little more interesting. What do you guys think right now?
Who are the others that could be put in the 40 gate?
I mean, there's always Hocevar.
Hocevar.
They poach
There's
Village.
Zillich. Heim.
They could poach him.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think I'm trusting
Kyle
more
Busch.
Bowman.
Kyle Busch will be a free agent.
Oh, but he's gonna be like
42.
he's old.
I don't know. I see Heim staying on Toyota. I can see Heim. I can see something happen to Denny. Denny's been racing longer than I thought he had. I could see Denny retiring in a couple of years and just Heim holding out for that one, Stady 11.
How are we so blind to this, Creston? The old comparisons back. It's Riley Herbst, obviously.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Riley Herbst in the 48, just like the prophecy.
Well, we always said he's the next Jimmy Johnson, so he needs that car.
Yeah. Prophecy fulfilled. Austin Blansett with the 10 says, Jarrett, Danny, Eric, long time no see. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're doing well, Austin. It has been a bit. God bless and much love to all of you. Any update on Nashville Fairgrounds? We need to fix short tracks and we need more of them ASAP.
Nothing. There's nothing.
Support local racing there. I wouldn't get your hopes up.
Support it, because I think the next news we're going to hear about it's going to probably be like 26 or 27 at this rate.
And enjoy Nashville Super Speedway. I think it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Austin left a second super chat saying, I've been a Chase fan since he was in trucks. I was a lifelong Gordon fan. It pains me to see Chase struggling for the same reasons Jeff did. It's time. So now we have our second. Gustafson should be fired post. Man, Hendrick fans are getting ravenous. I don't blame them. You want to be winning races, and they're not doing that. At least those two cars are not doing that. I don't blame them for being a bit frustrated. Cavs fan 45 says Chase Elliott finally looks great and has a good restart. Chase has a chance to win. Oh, wait, Allen makes a horrible call. We finished 15th. Well, yes. To be fair, he made the same pit call roughly the same pit call that Adam Stevens made for Christopher Bell. And he's a two-time champion, one of the best in the business. And they finished 15th, 16th. So, it could have worked, but yes.
The difference is Bell finishing like 16th is not normal. Whereas like 15th for Chase Elliott right now is par for the course.
Fair. That is fair. Justin Drake, thank you for the 20, says, so happy that Stuart Friesen won. Been watching him race big block modifieds and whoop Matt Shepard at Utica, Rome Speedway in Vernon, New York for years, and seeing him do well in trucks is always great for me. Yeah, I mean, from what I know about Stuart Friesen, he races a lot. So it is cool to see him be rewarded for his efforts. Another one from Austin Blansett. Jarrett, you made a video that got my attention. To steal an idea from Slap Shoes, here's what I'd do. I'd bring back Memphis Raceway and do the Tennessee Triple Crown, Bristol, Nashville, Memphis.
I don't think Memphis's racetrack is in any good condition whatsoever these days.
To be fair, neither was North Wilkesboro. So I get the video I did, and it took off a little bit. So thank you to everyone who watched. Is I talking about the most recent abandoned racetracks, and Memphis is one of them. And that was actually inspired by our, I guess, would you call him friend of the channel, friend of the show, probably former business partner for a race, Matt Tift. Who bought Mansfield.
You heard it here, folks. He hates Matt Tift.
Oh yeah,
he bought Mansfield and
is
going to be restoring it. And I part of me made the video so at the end I could dovetail it off to be like, go watch Matt's video. And then I saw like all the videos all at once about Mansfield and abandoned tracks. Like it just was the it thing last week. But I'd be down. I mean, Danny, maybe we'll take like a guy's day trip out to Memphis and see what's left.
Yeah, I definitely need to do that sometime. It's been something I've wanted to do for a while.
I did. Oh, did you see? Not abandoned racetrack, but has been racing a while. Did you see that Chicagoland's making the airwaves again for two different drivers?
I saw that with Carson's flight over it.
He did multiple videos, and I guess Blaney talked about it this past week. So, just saying, the rumor mill's heating up.
Jarrett's eagerly anticipating that schedule drop from Bianchi.
I'm going to be sitting there like as soon as I read Chicagoland on it, it's going to hit like freaking crack. Like it's going to be like
at long last. Justin Drake says, remember when LaJoy said Trucks was racing in front of 12 people and below his skill level? Well, maybe his skill level is to run up front in ARCA. Well, that's not exactly what LaJoy said, but the 12 people comments in the stands was like I said earlier, LaJoy just kind of says things sometimes that he probably shouldn't. He regrets those comments as he should. Austin Blancett again says, I know it's not popular to support Corey LaJoy, even though 3 years ago he was everyone's favorite underdog. What he said about the lower series wasn't wrong. Oh, it was exaggerated. What am I trying to say? And unnecessarily harsh. Felt like he was punching down to some degree. That was the only reason it was in poor taste, I would argue. Fred Dog 81 says, I hope NASCAR uses Mexico City to showcase the Mexico series a little more. I'm interested in learning more, but info and broadcast is scarce on the net. Yeah, I know like some of like the NASCAR Euro series, for example, was like every race was streamed on YouTube last season. I don't know if they do the same for the Mexico series. I've not looked into it myself, but it would be cool to see that series get more publicity. Like when they ran with the Cup cars at the Coliseum a couple of years back. That was kind of cool. Would love to see more of that. Maybe they'll do some showcases this weekend. Justin Drake, Grandpa, why do I suck? Joe Gibbs, shut up, Ty. Damn Nepo, baby. Damn. Why you say that to his own grandson? This fan fiction is harsh. We'll get Roots to say that quote or those lines in a couple weeks. Justin with another one says NASCAR claims they want to grow the sport, but then stuff like the charters and injunctions happen, and it's like go figure. NASCAR used the courts again to hinder teams, killing the sport again. Yeah, it's not a good look. Obviously, I mean, I think NASCAR is just doing what they have to do to protect their ownership stake, their business. So I can't entirely blame them. I mean, it was ultimately the teams that picked the ultimate fight. You could argue NASCAR didn't negotiate well, but the teams ultimately took them to court first. NASCAR is playing defense. It's a tough, tricky situation here. I'm not trying to pick a side because I don't have all the facts. There are things about NASCAR's business that I think we all wish they would run differently. But at the same time, I not knowing much about legal history, it does seem like the initial injunction was questionable. So I'm not surprised that it was overturned. Anyway, it's not good PR.
Exploratory phase to come already. Like I'm so excited for that. If anything comes out.
Yeah. Austin Blancett says there shouldn't be a charter system. It's dumb. Fair enough. Sadly, I think we are past the point of no return in many ways. Ryan Idius says playoff implications is the one that grinds my gears. That's also fair.
Yeah, that's true.
Couple more from Justin. I hate hearing crickets or a snooze fest of the commentary calling the final lap of every truck race. I forgot it was the last lap, I think at Rockingham, and they called it, or maybe it was Bristol, they called it a lap late. Rough. And then Justin says, gotta love how in 2 elections everything went electric and nobody bought those RC cars. Then in the last election, we get back to Hemi V8s and everyone goes back to muscle cars. Whiplash, political and social whiplash. Don't you love it? Billy Sellers, thank you for the 2. Appreciate the support. Creston John, I believe. My grandma passed yesterday, and this stream has been fun to watch and has helped with the grieving. Thank y'all for what you do. Well, that's very nice of you to say. Yeah, and we're sorry for your loss. Glad we could hopefully be a bright part of your week, and hopefully it's a good race this weekend, and you're able to enjoy that as well.
Agreed.
Jam Plays Games says, fun fact, Christian Fittipaldi won the Rolex 3 times. That is a fun fact. So he wasn't just a back marker in my video game. It's good to know. Justin Drake says, how is Corona not a race sponsor this weekend? Have Corey, Carl, and Danielle chug a Corona with lime at the beginning of the race at the end of stages 1 and 2 would be prime TV.
So you would think that would be a thing, but wasn't there a thing like it's like certain alcohol sponsors under a certain amount, so like they actually had to be covered up this weekend or something like that?
Yeah. Be honest,
like if they're
choose Modelo.
It was something about maybe if the alcohol content is too high, they're not allowed to advertise. I don't know.
Yeah, I forget what it was. Some of the teams literally had to cover up some of their sponsors. I
saw the meme. It was like Kyle Busch's like whole hauler is basically black. Yeah, it's a giant sensor bar driving down the highway.
He's the man in black. They need paint that car, paint that color like the Jeff Burton AT&T orange again, just for the meme of it.
I like that. Steven Gibson says the fact that we never got a layout look is crazy. That stadium section going to be bad for NASCAR. I've seen some photos of it, and I've seen like a track map. There's one or two obvious passing zones, but then, there's some parts that look just technical for the sake of being technical. I don't know. COTA has a stadium section. It may not be the same as what they're doing here in Mexico City, but it works okay at COTA. Hopefully it works okay. I mean, they've run, I don't know if it was the exact same layout. I think it was slightly different, but they've run Xfinity cars here and it worked. So I'm sure the next gen will handle just fine. Napa Racing Fan says better TV ratings, F1 Canada on ABC or NASCAR Mexico on Prime. That's a good question.
I'd say NASCAR Mexico on Prime because we're not going up against the Indianapolis 500.
And that is true. That is true. 3, the Roman numeral 3 says nobody is considering who are the best drivers in the wet. Good point. Shit. I'm really mad you guys got SVG now. That is
I chose Bell.
Well, the chat got SVG. I guess Reddick, has he won or how's he done in the rain? Not great because he wrecked chasing down Bowman last year at Chicago and it was a little damp.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll see. Where are we at here? Chan Cheese says, I love NASCAR because it gives me something to watch between the NFL season and also Larson winning. No questions asked. Yeah, nobody picked Larson either, which, give him a week off, I suppose.
Yeah.
Hunter Nixon Fishing, we're down to the final 4 here. Isn't it crazy that we think we could see Denny surpass Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, and maybe Kyle Busch in wins and yet no championship? Yeah, he's behind he's 3 or 4 wins behind Harvick, and I think he's 6 wins behind Busch right now. But yeah, still missing that championship. Is this Denny's year, chat? I'll make a poll in a minute. Steven Gibson said, add to my super chat last week. I said Hocevar to replace Denny in the 11, rebranded 18. Yes, I meant that would be in a couple of years, not next year. Well, if that happens, we need to come back to Steven Gibson. He has seen the future become enlightened.
We are not worthy.
Napa Racing Fan says NASCAR to Canada in 26, Montreal and or Canadian Tire. Yes, that was the second part to that earlier super chat. They definitely want to do Montreal. It's clear they want to go to Montreal. Mm-hmm. Couldn't get a deal done for this year. Maybe that's the plus side of what F1's doing next year. Maybe that actually will open the schedule up in some way for NASCAR to do Montreal.
Wasn't part of it that they wanted NASCAR and it might be the other way around. One of them wanted August while the other wanted June. Mm-hmm. And there's they're not reconciling on it. I'm assuming they're staying in Mexico next year and there's been no indication they're not. And it's imagine that whiplash. Mexico City 1 week and then you go up to Canada the next.
Yeah, that would be pretty jarring. No doubt. C. Henry 20 says, this is another comment like we got earlier. Do you guys think it would help if Gustafson and Harris swapped? Could it benefit Bowman and Elliott? I think we're all kind of in agreement that yes, it feels like they need to shake things up, but reminder, Bowman almost won Homestead. He's had fast cars, just keeps making mistakes. And Elliott, he's not leading laps, not winning, but he is still top 5 in points. I think there needs to be some shuffling at some point this year if things don't get better, but
yeah.
Careful about, we just talked about whiplash, careful about doing something drastic so suddenly because, neither driver is that far off. They're not quite where they need to be, but they're not completely lost. So you just got to be careful about making any snap decisions. Final 2 super chats. Justin says, hey, Eric, what was with the Denny said he had a bad experience last time he was in Mexico City comment in your video today? I didn't say that. I did say that. I was quoting Denny on his podcast. I don't know what it's about. Does anybody know what he's talking about? Denny Hamlin.
I know about Kyle.
Yeah, we know about Kyle.
We've heard about Kyle's bad experience, but no, Denny on his podcast just kind of casually was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of experience."
Only thing I can imagine with Denny having bad experience is that maybe there was too much Corona or tequila involved.
Yeah, maybe. So I don't know what it's about. I was just quoting Denny. Memphis Made. Oh man. People aren't going to like this. The account is Memphis Made, but they have a Dallas Cowboys profile picture. I think the oval track is the only part of Memphis Motorsports Park close the road course, the strip open that I can remember.
So it looks like we have to go out there and check.
Yeah, see if the oval is all that's left. I just figured you'd be mad, Danny, because they're obviously, it sounds like they're from Memphis, but they're not Titans fans. They're Cowboys fan, America's
Oh.
team over
Oh,
here
well,
in Texas.
Well, here's the thing. Tennessee, we've pretty much acknowledged that Memphis is actually a city in Mississippi.
Brutal.
And here I thought it was
Like
in Egypt.
they really do not like being technically part of Tennessee. Most people in Memphis,
Hmm.
but they're just kind of in the forgotten corner.
Final super chat of the night from Cord Jones. Don't sleep on AJ Allmendinger. He has a chance. He definitely has a chance.
he
I
does.
had him
Yes.
6th in my rankings. I mean, he's really good at road courses, but the finishes aren't always great. Like Coda, for example, I think they had a mechanical issue and he finished 30th. Like there are things about Colleague I don't trust like I trust Gibbs, Hendrick, even Trackhouse equipment, frankly. That's why I don't think any of us had him in our 4. And then lastly, Dallas, America's disappointment from Justin Drake. I'm glad that you spent a few dollars to tell the world, to remind the world. Yeah, it's been rough for that. Anyway, I'm dying at Memphis Made in the chat now. Anyway, on that note, this has been a fun show, a very, very good time. Thank you all for joining us. Those of you who send in super chats, Gator says $5 well spent. Yes. The Eagles fan in the chat, of course, agrees. Thank you all for your support. Very generous, very kind. We appreciate all of you hanging out with us. Wait, let me check the top fans. Where did we end the rankings tonight? Spencer held on to the top spot. Well played. Brony is 2nd. Groovy Goose is 3rd. Blue Jimmy fan 4th. And then we have Dad 760.
How far does this go down? Holy crap. I'm 49th.
You're P49. Where am I? I'm not. I guess I haven't commented. I'm hosting. I guess I'm not commenting at all.
Actually, I'm in a tie for 45th.
Okay, you got to climb those ranks next week, Jarrett.
I'm listed as
50.
I'm listed as 50 plus. I'm just not doing anything.
Well, that's an interesting new feature. Hope you all enjoyed watching tonight. Again, next week we will be on Danny B's channel, Wednesday, June 18th, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Everyone enjoy Mexico City. Xfinity Cup back-to-back should be fun, should be exciting. It's always fun to see something new. We'll have a lot to talk about next week. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you again real soon. Have a great weekend.
See you next week.
Drivers, start your
3, 2, 1.
green flag.
Started off right, pal.
Right on, come on. You outside? Rewind.
Unbelievable.
Green playing, we're going. I like the aggression. We probably got the green car.
You can go tell all those guys up there they can suck it. What we're about to do is not a good idea.
All good. What is he doing?
You've got to be kidding me.
Half the pack is flying apart.
It's so nice to
See you at the line.
Oh, pack of cars come piling in as well.
Come. Come at the line.
Hello. Come back on him.